Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto has a fire bloodline part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. It was the beginning of another day of beautiful weather, birds flying in the sky, fish swimming in the rivers and oceans, and boys running in the woods. This one seemed rather short for his age and a poor sense of taste and fashion with that horribly orange jumpsuit that didn't do justice to his physique because it looked like this boy has been running forever and wasn't out of breath yet. On his forehead was a headband that had a metal plate with a symbol of a leaf inscribed on it, and in the boy's hands were kunai, a knife that ninjas commonly use. That must mean the boy is a ninja, but what if Shadow Striker wears such bright clothes? Had enough guessing? Yes? Well, here's the scope. That boy's name is Naruto Uzumaki, and no, it means maelstrom and not fish cake. He is running through the woods within Wave Country, located on the border between Fire Country and Water Country. His destination seemed to be an uncompleted bridge linking the two countries over the ocean. I hope everything okay. That Gato bastard thinks he can kill the client's only family while he is occupied? I will want dibs on that tyrant, Naruto thought as he ran the fast he can from the house of the bridge builder and client, Tazuna, where he saved the daughter and grandson from a pair of bandits that snuck into the cottage while the others were at the bridge, at the unfinished bridge. Darn it! Why can't my Katon affect his mirrors? Sasuke Uchiha, the golden boy from Naruto's village, was on the end of his ropes when his opponent trapped him in a dome made of mirrors of ice that seemed to be impervious to fire. They just won't melt. Don't tell me that is all you have, almighty Uchiha. A voice taunted Sasuke, and it sure did the trick as the boy with raven hair shook in anger as his pride was being trampled on. Soon, all of the ice mirrors shone a figure in a battle kimono with a hunter mask on so Sasuke can't see the hunter's face. In his hands were samban or needles used to puncture numb points on the human body in order to relieve stress. This time, they are used as weapons to knock a target out. Sasuke could just wait with bated breath as every image of the hunter had samban in their hands, ready to make the Uchiha a human pincushion. Outside, Sakura Haruno, the third genin in Team 7, and Tazuna, the client for this mission himself, were getting worried about what is going to happen next since the teacher Kakashi Hatake was occupied by Zabuza in a deadly match of their own. Sasuke! Now that was a voice that came out of nowhere, and when everyone looked, they saw Blonde and Orange racing towards the bridge hoping to help out his team. At the same time, everyone is present and accounted for here at the bridge. That is good, Naruto thought as he finally reached the bridge. Still, he never counted on seeing a dome made of mirrors that looked like they were made of ice. Not bad for someone like him. That is until he noticed someone inside the dome, at least physically. Sasuke! Naruto yelled out to get his teammates' attention. But pretty soon, the blonde would get more than he wished for. It happened in an instant. Naruto was going to jump into the dome to use his signature technique to shatter the mirrors. Instead, Sasuke used the Kawarimi no Jutsu to switch places with Naruto, who had no time to dodge the samban. Now they were littered all over the blonde's body, sticking out like thorns on a cactus. Sorry, Dobe, but you should be proud to be used by the last Uchiha. You just helped out the village by making sure I don't get scratched. Sasuke grinned at his accomplishment until he noticed that anger and disappointment was in the cold air inside the ice dome. The Uchiha looked up to see that the images of Haku have twice the amount of Saban than last time. He looked like he was about to make a pin doll out of the selfish and power-hungry boy. Instead, what happened next was going to be the point that will turn Naruto's life upside down and also be the start of a new legend. It was like a miracle. Naruto was covered from head to toe with Saban, but he is still conscious and still standing. How is that? These needles could stop a wild boar or a Jonin-level ninja. The hunter was ravaging in his mind while Naruto was also confused about what is happening. I hate to have a weak container, but I also hate the Uchihas more, including your bastard of a teammate. That voice sounded ancient, and as angry too, so Naruto was shaken up from hearing it. So he thinks that betraying his teammate will bring him glory, huh? Well, I will not stand by and watch these fools honor traitors and hate heroes. I am going to help you, Gaki. Naruto could do nothing but close his eyes and wait out what the voice had in mind until he woke in a place that looked like a sewer. Then, Naruto heard breathing and felt a draft coming from behind him. So, the curious boy decided to go in the same direction. Later, Naruto came across a room with a huge cell inside. It was too dark to see anything inside, but Naruto can still hear breathing, and it sounded heavy to him. So my jailer finally paid a visit to little old me. How soothing! Naruto stirred at the volume of the voice that really sounded sarcastic and full of anger. Have you been here all this time? Naruto was shocked but not startled by the whole thing, so he took to curiosity to find the answers. His answer was a laugh that filled and rocked the whole room. Yes, Gaki, I have. I don't even remember the last time I have been outside for longer than an hour. Naruto can now point out a giant fox with red fur and 9 tails like a kitsune spirit. Then, the blonde remembered something from history. Yes, he reads the history of the village he lives in despite how boring and useless it looked in the eyes of ninjas. Naruto saw learning history as a hobby of his back home. Were you really controlled by an Uchiha named Madara? Naruto asked out of the blue that caused the laughter to cease. The silence that followed started to make Naruto nervous, so he decided to break the ice. I will take that as a yes. Still, why are you angry at me? I am the one who is keeping you from being used a puppet again. As long as I am alive, no one with the Sharingan like Madara's will ever control you again. Silence still followed, and Naruto took a huge sigh as he sat down and focused. Soon, the surroundings began to change around both Naruto and the giant fox. Instead of a yucky and sticking sewer, the landscape was like a grass clearing with a lake nearby and a lush forest going on endlessly. While Naruto was enjoying the change in location, he was wondering how the giant fox was doing. The sight that invaded his eyes really surprised him. The giant fox that was full of hatred and anger was lying around trying to get a firm grip on the grass in the landscape while flooding his eyes with tears. Kit, I was scared that you would think of me as a menace to the whole world. I was born in this world as a beloved son, so I was scared that everyone started calling me a monster by just glancing at me. I had to live through such a life many times you can ever. Naruto heard and even saw the sadness and fear in that tone that moved him to tears as well. I have seen how you will always live through the pain with a smile, and I wanted to feel what you humans call hope. It always made others feel safe and good, like things will get better, and we know that. The fox tearfully stated that caused Naruto run and embrace his tenant on one of his legs. I want you to share this feeling with everyone around you so no one will have to share my misery. I know I can trust you, will you do the same? The fox asked of Naruto, who just sniffed and nodded. Then Naruto started to feel like something was pulling him from the landscape with the fox. It seems that my work with your body has caused you to start to walk up. Don't worry, you can always visit anything you fall asleep. The fox explained, and Naruto smiled. Then I will. Oh, I forgot to introduce myself, Naruto said with a sheepish look while scratching the back of his head. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. What is yours? Naruto then felt the urge get 100 times stronger, and the sudden event had caused Naruto's grip to go loose at once. Fortunately, it was after Naruto heard the words, "My name is Kurama," that the blonde blacked out again, which meant he returned to world outside. There, in the world of reality and bridges and water and ice mirrors, Sasuke was just sitting on the ground wondering why Naruto still hasn't fallen to his knees since he is covered in Senbon. Haku was getting impatient and actually used his bloodline to create Senbon this time to kill. They hit their mark, but Naruto was still on his feet. That was when it happened. Naruto's body started to glow a red color that then covered the needles stuck in his skin. Then, the needles on Naruto's left side started to become adsorbed to create a mist that actually was standing by right on the left hand, while the needles on Naruto's other side had melted and turned into steam that centered around Naruto's right palm. Finally, a blue cloak appeared and covered Naruto's body in a protective fashion that expelled the rest of the Senbon, the ones made of metal, out of Naruto's skin. Then, Naruto's eyes opened to reveal the fiercest blue color you can ever see. They managed to cause Haku, a high Chunin near Jonin level ninja, to halt in his tracks. Then, Naruto inhaled a deep breath and let loose a roar that seemed to fill fear in the hearts of the blonde's enemies, and yet also hope in the hearts belonging to allies. You said that we will be friends if we meet again. But no friend of any type will try to kill me when I can't protect myself. Naruto spoke in a tone that made his enemies shiver and his allies beam. Naruto then preformed the standard hand seals for a Suiton, which he summoned a body of water from the mist to resign on his back. Suiton, Suiken. The next happened was a wide-range geyser shoot, and expanded at a speed that Haku and his mirrors of ice couldn't keep up with and caused the dome to shatter, sending the pieces of ice into the air. Yet, these pieces then stopped in midair and retracted into Naruto's left arm. Let's rumble. Previously on Boiling Ice, of Fire and Wind. The next happened was a wide-range geyser shoot, and expanded at a speed that Haku and his mirrors of ice couldn't keep up with and caused the dome to shatter, sending the pieces of ice into the air. Yet, these pieces then stopped in midair and retracted into Naruto's left arm. Let's rumble. He must have a great water nature to pull the moisture in the mists Zabuza-sama created to pull off a Suiton on that scale. Haku thought as he barely escaped the mirrors as the shattered from the sheer force of that Suiton Naruto casted. But that will just grant me with the chance to use my Hayaton against him. The hunter then preformed single-handed seals, Sensatsu Susho. With that said, Haku followed Naruto's example and used the water vapor found in the mist to direct a hail of sharpened water droplets towards Naruto. Meanwhile, the blonde had the feeling that his opponent will have something up his sleeve, so he waited until he was sure it was time to counterattack. Naruto was right on the money. There, in midair, the water droplets froze into shards of ice to add to their sharpness and speed. I will hear an earful about this sooner or later. Still, it is amazing even to me, Naruto thought calmly as he positioned his hands into the ram seal. This caused the leftover water from his previous Suiton to blob and morph into a clone that mimics the blonde perfectly. This one is for the marbles. Naruto then directed his hands to move smoothly through the horse and tiger seals, while the water clone was directed to move its hands through the tiger, ox, dog, rabbit, and snake seals. Then, it was time to complete the attack. Katon, Gokyaku no Jutsu, Futon de Tappa. The two Narutos combined their jutsu into a giant flamethrower that melted the ice shards and caused Haku to drown in a massive fireball. After the jutsu was finished, Naruto then preformed the snake seal and the sparks and flames turned into fireballs that attacked any other ice and even the ocean, causing steam to rise from the bridge and the sea water. This created another mist that seemed to be thicker than Zabuza's Kirigakyu no Jutsu. Still, Naruto was not moving from his spot. He somehow was thinking like a tactician, and this told him that his opponent was still out of there. Sure enough, Haku appeared from behind Naruto with Saban made of ice once again, and this time, the hunter is aiming to kill. The needles of freezing ice were only a few centimeters from their target when Naruto both moved to face the other way and halted Haku's hand in a split second. "This is for interrupting my teacher's fight last week," Naruto said in an emotionless tone until the sound of boiling water and screaming filled the air around the bridge. Everyone tried to make out what is happening, but the mist of steam was like alive as it blocked everyone's view on the fight even when they moved to try for a better look. Sasuke was getting frustrated and angry that Naruto didn't die and was stealing his opponent. Meanwhile, Naruto was looking down on Haku was a mess. His clothes tattered and burned, his skin covered in bruises and cut marks, and his mask was in pieces. "I know it is you, Haku, and I wish you will stop acting like a boy. You are giving me the creeps," Naruto said, and the hunter, she not he, couldn't argue as she remembered when Naruto and Haku first met in the woods. Flashback. Yesterday, after yelling at the client's arrogant grandson, the training ground looked like a typhoon had passed by to let off some steam like how Naruto Uzumaki did. Now, the blonde felt like taking a nap after exhausting his chakra to release the rage building up. He didn't think that picking a spot among flowers and herbs will bring two new friends and tensions between them. Elsewhere in the forest, a young girl in a kimono was picking herbs with a basket in hand. "These are great to use to heal Zabuza-sama. I never thought that I would find a gold mine here in Wave Country." She talked to himself until she noticed that one of the nearby trees had a crater and burn marks all over. Was there a fight or something? Oh. The girl then saw Naruto lying around in the fields while surrounded in herbs and flowers. When she went to check on him, it revealed that Naruto was just sleeping. Phew. This guy can sleep sound as the dead. "Hey, wake up." The girl tried to get Naruto up, and after a while she succeeded. "Are you an angel?" Naruto said, groggy from his interrupted nap, and somehow, this girl had a blush on her face. "No. You are still alive, but if you keep sleeping, you will catch a cold." The girl answered with a cool composition. "Sorry. I was training, but I guess I went overboard and exhausted myself to sleep," Naruto said with a sheepish look on his face while rubbing the back of his head. "Training, huh? Are you a ninja by your headband?" "Oh, my name is Haku." The girl introduced herself while returning to her chore. "Sure am, my name is Naruto Uzumaki. I noticed that you are picking herbs that are usually used to heal wounds or diseases. Is one of your friends sick or hurt?" Naruto asked. No one knows this, but he was quite observant, but no one actually appreciated it, so Naruto never bothered sharing this talent. "Yes, a dear friend is very sick and I do know some medical treatments, so I am treating him, but in order to do that, I needed plenty of these herbs. Can you help me?" Haku asked politely, and Naruto agreed. After a while, it was getting late and Haku had to return to help her friend. "Well, it was nice talking to you, Haku-chan. I have to get back to my team before they chew me out for staying up too late," Naruto said, and Haku understood. "Of course, see you later, Naruto-kun. And by the way, I am a boy," Haku said, but then noticed that his dress was pulled down, nearly revealing his chest. Still, he screamed and covered with his arms. Lastly, Haku was pinned down by a pair of arms, leaving him with barely any room to remove his arms and try to get back up. "A boy, you say?" Naruto said while keeping Haku down on the ground. "No boy will wear what girls do, scream like one or try to cover his chest with another boy nearby. Are you pulling something here?" Naruto sure made an excellent interrogator by successfully placing his patient in a corner, and no way out. "I am a girl." "Okay, I am a girl," Haku shouted in fright while pressed into the dirt and grass on the ground. "And why are you trying to be a boy?" Naruto asked patiently. "To protect myself," Haku answered without hesitation. "Protect yourself from what?" "From other ninjas who look down on girls as just slaves and playthings. I have to live that life because I am a girl," Haku yelled at the top of her voice that showed fear and dread in its tone. Now, Haku was feeling like Naruto was going to sell her out or kill her. Instead, Naruto got off of her and quickly dressed her back up. "What are you?" "While I can't deny that some men look down on women, there are plenty of kunoichi in Konoha that even the Hokage is afraid of," Naruto answered. That made Haku intrigued while finishing up her dress with the spots that Naruto missed. "If you want to learn how to protect yourself without having to wear all of the time, then Konoha is a good place to go. I am sure Gigi will welcome you and your bloodline." Haku was frightened that time. "How did you know?" "I never told anyone in your team, because I actually read the history books they give in the academy as part of a hobby. I noticed that when you fled with Zabuza, you left a trail of ice behind." "Not every ninja can do that," Naruto said. "Only someone with the Hayatan bloodline can do that, and you were the only candidate for the user, so I took a bet, and it seems I win the grand prize," Naruto explained, and yet Haku didn't feel endangered but felt more like smiling and giggling along with Naruto. "But I am not going to sell you out, considering you never tried to kill me when you had the golden chance, so I am just going back to my team." But before that, Haku was listening, Be wary of my teammate who is a Uchiha. He has the worst personality, and if I didn't know better, I can guess he will try to have his first kill, so nothing will stop him from killing his brother when they meet again, and that includes you." With that said, Naruto went towards the direction of the client's house, leaving Haku to ponder the words before disappearing and leaving a trail of ice behind. End of flashback. Haku didn't even try to resist as she awaited her fate against the boy who beat her fair and square. Naruto revealed to have saved some of the Senban he was forced to take into by his ungrateful and selfish teammate, and was preparing to knock Haku out with them when he felt an incredible pain on his torso from his right. The blonde looked to see Sasuke Uchiha with a kunai in his hand as he was driving the blade into the wound. Naruto could see the Sharingan with complete bloodlust in the Uchiha's eyes. "Sasuke, what are you?" Naruto could barely speak with the pain coursing through his body and blood tinkering from his mouth. "Sorry, Dobe, but I can't let you take the glory from me any longer. You should be proud to have weakened that bitch for embarrassing me so I can kill her easier," Sasuke said in a tone that had no remorse whatsoever for Naruto's heath, as he kicked the blonde away at the location of the open wound. "Now, you will die for crossing me, the last Uchiha," Sasuke said with pure madness in his voice before being kicked in the gut by a stray leg belonging to Haku. "You monster! First you use your own teammate as a meat shield, now you stab him just to kill me. You disgrace to all ninjas." Haku was no longer feeling like fighting Team 7 after this display of true trash. "Shut up, bitch. That Dobe should never have been able to beat you down when I couldn't. Any power he has belongs to me." Sasuke Uchiha. The boy with the black hair and now with a black heart retorted when he felt like his face was hit by a telephone pole, sending him flying in the direction away from where Naruto was kicked to. When Sasuke looked up in the other way, he saw the last person to be Sakura Haruno. "You are not the Sasuke I fell for in the academy. You are not the Sasuke that was to be our village's proud future. And you are not the Sasuke you always bragged to be invincible and noble. You are just a monster with Sasuke's face." Sakura yelled at the Uchiha, who was fuming that a useless fangirl got the drop on him, and shoved him off his rightful seat as the beloved last Uchiha. "Listen here, you by MMPH." Sasuke felt a hand had covered his mouth in the middle of his sentence. He looked up to see Zabuza with eyes glowing red with rage. "First you backstab your own comrade, then you intervened with a duel that was just about to finish, and now you have the nerve to look down on two young ladies who are nobler than you ever shown today." Zabuza had real anger and hate in his tone as he approached his Kubikura Bocho towards the Uchiha's neck until they were both hit by projectiles, causing Zabuza to have both of his arms paralyzed and Sasuke's left leg to collapse. Then the sound of clapping filled the air as the second mist cleared to reveal a dwarf with sunglasses and a cane along with an army of thugs behind him. "Aren't that swell? My own mercenary that I paid good money for is now sticking up for my enemies. I knew that I should have done this earlier." That voice was one that Haku and Zabuza knew too well. "Gato." "Yes, Zabuza, demon of the mist, guess what? Our contract is done, and now I can kill the bridge builder and those ninja to boot." Gato replied with an arrogant tone that put dread in everyone's minds until the breaking point came. "Boys, have fun and make sure you save those girls over there. They will be perfect toys to play with after today." Sakura and Haku started to freeze up after that last sentence was said, but somehow, they felt safe anyway. The bandits roared and charged, but they only got so far when the ocean came to life and formed a wall that halted their advances. "Arg! It burns!" Some of the bandits weren't so lucky to run into the wall of water only to reveal it was boiling water, to be precise. On the other side, Team 7 and company were wondering where the wall of water came through because they can rule out Zabuza because his Suiton never had the boiling and burning effect a week ago, and neither did any of Haku's or Kakashi's Suiton have the effect as well. They got their answer soon, in the form of one Naruto Uzumaki. No one moved from that spot, even when the wall of boiling water fell apart. Not the bandits or ninjas. Not tyrant tycoons or scared seniors. Only Naruto as he moved his arm in a half-hug position and, as a response, the sea came back to life and coiled around anyone behind Naruto like a dragon, following the order to protect the allies of its master, Kakashi and Zabuza. Naruto finally spoke and got the two Jonin-level ninjas to jump. "Make sure Uchiha team doesn't do what he wants with Sakura or Haku. Understand?" The two nodded and Naruto sprang into action. The blonde moved faster than a tiger and appeared in front of Gato and said, "You have made innocent lives suffer for your greed. You are nothing but a weed sucking the life out of any garden you set in." Naruto then placed his left hand on Gato's forehead. "Now there is a new weed in town. This one is going to return what you stole from the flowers." "Die!" Gato screamed as he tried to pry the blonde's hands off his head, but Naruto's grip was too strong and the tycoon could only scream and flail as his body shivered up like a raisin until Gato's body went limp and empty like a dry husk of the man he was born as. Gato, the head of Gato Incorporated and the tyrant of Wave Country, is dead. Silence. Silence had followed the death of the one person that was hated the most in Wave Country was turned into a waterless mummy. The bandits were shocked that a little boy would kill in such a fashion without as much as a stir. Zabuza remembered how he had to kill his classmates back in the academy in Water Country. Kakashi added another one on the list of many ways to kill your enemies. Sakura somehow felt amazed at how Naruto handled the pressure she was feeling right now, yet also concerned since she had seen Naruto every day and this is the first time she had seen him kill. Haku was now feeling good that she didn't want to hurt Naruto as he could have overwhelmed her and kill her in the same he did to Gato. Tazuna was feeling like he chose the right ninja for the job even if he had to see people die as a result. But no silence on Earth lasts forever as it was broken when one bandit realized, hey. This got everyone's attention, that kid stole our meat ticket. Let's teach him a lesson. The rest of the bandits roared in approval and soon, they ganged up on Naruto, surrounding him on the bridge. Naruto-kun! Sakura yelled out on reflex but paid no heed to it. Then she saw the smirk on Naruto's face. Everything is cool. Soon enough, Naruto managed to create a Kage Bunshin and the two blondes jumped towards the directions they each were facing despite the swarm of swords and spears. Naruto and his clone landed on each side of the army of bandits that tried to stop their weapons from hurting each other. Meanwhile, Naruto and his clone made hand seals that Haku can faintly recognize. Those are hand seals used for Hayatan. She wasn't far with that thought. Hayatan, Hai Shintaya Shiba. The two blondes had placed their hands on the bridge and caused ice to form and trap the feet of every bandit there was. I can't move, it freezes, get us out of here. While the bandits were trying to get their feet unfrozen, Naruto had dispelled his shadow clone, revealing that he was on the side where his team and the others were standing. They saw that Naruto's arms were in a cross position and the palms of his hands were facing the sides of bridge and bodies of water were raised out of the sea until they started to boil over. Then Naruto moved his arms to point their palms into the over direction, while downward. This caused the boiling water to clash and washed the bandits into the sea where they sent away by the current. Sensei, Kakashi looked to Naruto who had his carefree grin on his face. I think I will call that power, Futton. Everyone had to fight the urge to sweat drop at the sight. While the bandits were trying to get their feet unfrozen, Naruto had dispelled his shadow clone, revealing that he was on the side where his team and the others were standing. They saw that Naruto's arms were in a cross position and the palms of his hands were facing the sides of bridge and bodies of water were raised out of the sea until they started to boil over. Then Naruto moved his arms to point their palms into the over direction, while downward. This caused the boiling water to clash and washed the bandits into the sea where they sent away by the current. Sensei, Kakashi looked to Naruto who had his carefree grin on his face. I think I will call that power, Futton. Everyone had to fight the urge to sweat drop at the sight. It has been a few more days after the battle on the wave bridge which, with the help of Naruto's Kage Bunshin, was completed just in time for the healed Team 7 plus a bonded Sasuke, a girl from Naan Haku and a reformed Zabuza to return to Konoha. Among the crowd seeing them off, Inari was talking to a bandaged Naruto. I keep telling you Inari and Ai-chan, I am not mad at you anymore. You just needed help to get back on the better path of life. Naruto tried to correct a tearing boy who was sad that his new big brother and idol had to leave. Over the last few days, the two hit off pretty well and already, the little grandson had fixed his shaky ties with his only family, and even started to learn the basics of bridge building and carpentering. Biba Nissan, we would just be becoming brothers. And now I can BBW with you again. Inari was lonely as the only son and grandson in the family. All he wanted was a big brother to be with when sad or confused. Ah, thanks Inari and Ai-chan. But I have to return to my village as it is in the ninja rule book. But what is stopping me from sneaking off and visiting you? Naruto said with a grin until he was hit on the head by Sakura. Not without us you won't, Naruto-san. Sakura said while Naruto was noticing that her punches were getting lighter, but he knew it was the former holding back so her punches weren't serious, and only used for scolding. Come on Sakura-chan. Naruto still had his crush, but only on a level to be friendly and to keep the slowly but surely improving Sakura feeling appreciated for the first time in her whole life. We barely get time off and Wave Country is a good place to spend a few days. Naruto may still complain but instead of annoying Sakura, it amuses her, as she giggled at her teammate's pout until he moved to touch the wound inside. Sakura then sighed as she knew the wound a little too much. It was what helped make her open her eyes to the world. I am serious Naruto-san, you have that pain in your side because you burned the wound. It may have stopped you from bleeding to death but now I have to treat a serious burn instead. Sakura made her point and Naruto nodded in defeat. It was still adorable to her. Now that goodbyes are made, the group now set off towards Konoha where their homes, old and new, await. So Haku, Naruto said to bring up a conversation, when we arrive in Konoha, would you like to work as a kunoichi or at the hospital? Haku made a thinking pose. While she knew about the many places to apply for, she still hasn't decided on a new life job. I don't know exactly. But after what happened on the bridge, maybe your Hokage can give the Uchiha's place on Team 7 to me. Yeah, that can work. But if you don't want to, then we will work something else out. Naruto replied that halted everyone in their tracks and not a minute later did the blonde notice. What? Naruto asked. Naruto-san, we have been meaning to ask, what happened on the bridge? Sakura said brief and to the point. Naruto then sighed and found a nearby pine tree, made a cutting motion that looked like a blur and when the action finished, logs with fine needles making them self-made seats. Take your pick, because it is going to be big and it will take a while. And lucky for you, I learned all the answers just last night, when the bridge was finally finished. Naruto said calmly, and everyone just chose their log and seat and got relaxed. Flashback. The previous night prior to leaving Wave Country. Phew. What a workout, but it feels great knowing that our labor has paid off. Naruto said as he entered his room all covered in sweat and dirt, and the clothes that wear them too. But before I definitely need a shower before Haku-chan and Sakura-chan have to smell this in the morning. The blonde muttered as he threw off his clothes to be washed while he took a shower. It felt great on the tired and aching muscles and sweaty skin. Soon enough, Naruto has finished his shower and was dressed in his sleepwear and walked to his bed. Nothing like a warm and relaxing shower before a cozy and soft bed to drop dead in. Hee hee hee. Naruto muttered with a snicker as he went out like a light under the soft covers that made his body totally relaxed. However, it was his body that got rest, but it seemed somehow to be too soon for Naruto's mind to take a nap. This is because Naruto found himself in the same clearing in the woods that was only to be found in his mind. Not only that, but Naruto was also sitting on a log with fine pine needles that are removed anything prickly and making it rather comfy and soft to sit on. Then, Naruto noticed someone that looked rather familiar. It was a woman wearing a kimono with a red color with fox, fur and fire designs. Her hair was scarlet red and it flowed in the wind that blew throughout the landscape. Her face was much defined to be that of a woman's with red, silted eyes that were still beautiful in Naruto's case. Yet Naruto had a good idea who this stranger is. Kurama? Is that you? The woman giggled and then embraced Naruto and kissed him on the forehead. Despite being a boy, Naruto didn't move to protest. He just sat there with a blush on his face. The woman giggled and sat back down on her seat. Why yes, I am Kurama the Kyuubi Kitsune, but I don't always show this form to most people. Because of how shinobi look down on women and kunoichi alike, you sound like you suffered a fear and a burden like Haku did. I'm sorry for that. Naruto spoke with his blush toned down to match his skin color. The Shikurama was amazed at how Naruto was quick to conclusions, and yet remembered to verify them in the most polite way he can. Yes, just like this Haku from the real world. Shikurama replied and Naruto nodded. By the way, Kurama was a name given to my Kyuubi Kitsune form, but I prefer a more female name. I understand. Naruto suddenly said and made a thinking pose that didn't last long, and before Shikurama can speak, he said, how about Kaka? Naruto suggested and Shikurama thought it over. I like it. It really does match what women I seen and named, and it is even related to the name I was given when I was born as a giant nine-tailed fox. Thank you. The woman, for now on to be called Kaka, jumped and embraced Naruto once more and kissed his on the forehead this time. Naruto blushed even more by this action, but he didn't protest, and it seemed to stem from the fear if he did reject this show of affection, he would lose it forever, as such things were rare in Naruto's life. No problem, can I now ask you some questions while I am still here, Kaka-san? Naruto said calmly and yet nervously about making the wrong move and break the fair woman's heart. Sure. What you need to know. Kaka sure did show an energetic and a carefree personality. Still, it never made Naruto feel awkward but more safe and relieved that Kaka is not finally offended. First is that why did you give me a pair of bloodlines? I don't deserve such a gift. Naruto asked and showed his level of modesty in his tone. I have two answers to that question. First one is that it was the spur of the moment. Kaka said with a sheepish look on her face and rubbed the back of her head in embarrassment, which made Naruto's sweat drop that time. And lastly, because I was impressed that you were able to keep standing after all those sanbans sticking in every part of your body. You could have fallen unconscious for less. Now, Kaka had concern and disbelief in her voice. I didn't want to let my team down. Naruto said without hesitation, which got Kaka thrown off. I may have been dense, but I am not stupid. I knew that if I allowed myself to be knocked out, then the rest of my team would have been in danger. Naruto said with pure honesty in his voice. But your teammate, the Uchiha, used you as a meat shield. He doesn't deserve to have been protected by you. Kaka was really confused as to her tenant would still insist on risking his life for an selfish and ungrateful boy. What difference would it make? Back in Konoha, everyone would just see it was a pure act of loyalty to the last Uchiha, and nothing more. I have seen it happen before, a lot. Naruto said in spite of the outburst that Kaka had made. The latter then sat down and remained silent as she couldn't argue about that. Next question. How was I able to overcome Haku? She is a Chunin level kunoichi at her best, and I am just an under-average genin. I shouldn't have been able to match her speed and agility to beat her at her own game, and to the ground. Naruto asked in a tone that is very rare. This is because most would just take credit for something they never did alone. People like Sasuke would never waste a second of their time to do that. That was me channeling my chakra through your body along with experience I picked up when you were a human pincushion. I wanted to help you get even with someone you made friends with to try and kill you. Kaka answered, and surprisingly, Naruto wasn't even confused and just nodded. Thanks, but I can't expect this to happen again. I need to train this powers you gave me so I can fight my own battles instead of others doing for me. Naruto said in a calm tone that was actually understandable to Kaka, so she didn't say a word back. Last question, how should I make a relationship with you since you helped me and my team on the bridge? Naruto asked with concern for Kaka clearly in his tone. I mean, is that should I see you as a big sister or a mother? You do want to understand how families feels like, don't you? It was like a blur was made as slow as a turtle. Kaka buried Naruto in her chest for the third time, but even deeper and with pure emotions behind. You are the sweetest boy I ever met in my life. Kaka was practically drowned in tears of happiness. I do want to know how love feels like. Thanks. Naruto managed to say after digging himself out to take a breath. How about you become my mother figure? Kaka was trying to wipe her tears but was still intrigued by the suggestion. It is a win-win situation. I get to have a mother to show love to and have someone wise to go to for advice while you get to cure your loneliness and fill out that hole in your heart that never was full. Kaka was so filled with bright and uplifting emotions that she didn't even want to move anymore. Her limbs were too numb from the heart racing and nervousness in her heart. Naruto saw this, and this time, he went to her and gave Kaka a hug that only a child give to her parent. He didn't say a word and allowed his new mother to take in the new feelings and thoughts. Then, the blonde started to fade, but he didn't flinch. Instead, he gave one last kiss to Kaka's forehead and muttered the 3 words that were graved in her heart. Good night, Ka-chan. Good night, Sochi. Kaka said before the world went black for both the new mother and son. What no one was able to see was that, in his bed, Naruto was crying tears of happiness. It was like a lonely kid who finally found his parents after such a long time fending for himself in the wild. End of flashback. And that is what I learned about the incident that happened on the bridge a few days ago. Naruto finished and saw that his audience had many reactions on their faces, ranging from tears to understanding but no confusion. That was a lot to say from just one nighttime, Gaki. Zabuza said. How about we just get to where the crossroads are? I need to report back to Kiria as soon as possible. It may seem that Zabuza was going to return with everyone else to Konoha, but they instead retrieved a notice that the water country had finally ended its civil war and gained a Godame Mizukage who welcomes former members of the 7 Swordsmen of the Mist. Zabuza is such a person, and he wishes to return to make up for his mistakes and be around to see the next generation of sword fighters that are native to Kiri. Other than that, he wanted Haku to go to Konoha because she wants to stay with Naruto, and Konoha is good place as any for a bloodline user that obviously can't live in a smaller village. As a father, Zabuza has only the well-being and judgment of his daughter to worry about, and Haku feels like going with Naruto since they both have the same bloodline, which makes them blood relatives, and such people have to stay together. They agreed to summarize the family gap as just younger brother and older sister. There is the other possibility for a permanent replacement for Team 7 since Sasuke's crimes of treachery can never be overlooked. Yes. We have delayed enough for one day, Naruto said calmly, and everyone got up to hit the road as well. After a quick and silent farewell and a few more moments of traveling, Team 7 and company have reached the gates of Konoha, where Izumo and Kotetsu are living their days as Chunin. Halt. Names and reasons for entering Konoha, please. Izumo, who was playing shogi with his partner, addressed the guests and looked over the ninja IDs given. Okay, Kakashi and Team 7, you are verified, but why is that boy in chains and who is the additional girl? Both cases are to be addressed to the Hokage, and the verdict is to be decided by him personally, so please step aside. Kakashi said in his usual lazy tone, and Izumo just shrugged and went back to his game where he found out that Kotetsu had won while his partner was doing his job. Team 7 and Haku just went ahead, leaving the frustrated scream of the gate guard over the development. In the Hokage Tower, Hiruzen Sarutobi aka the professor was struggling through his paperwork that unfortunately came with the job of Hokage. Had that he discovered the secret to how his late successor had conquered it, Hiruzen would have more time to spend with his only family after most of his clan including his wife were killed the day of the Kyuubi attack. To add salt in the wound, one of his students also discovered the secret but refused to reveal it. Can't anyone spare an old man even if he is the professor? Hiruzen was knocked out of his focus when someone knocked on the door. Come in, he said, hoping to get it over with so he can finally be done with the paperwork. Hiruzen saw that Team 7, with a bound but conscious Sasuke as to explain his complaining and demanding, along with a girl he didn't recognize. Team 7, report. Yes, Hokage-sama. Team 7 officially finished the C-rank turned A-rank mission to Wave Country. Kakashi addressed the big stuff while expecting the blow-off. A-rank? How did a simple C-rank turn to such a dangerous mission? Hiruzen shouted, and no one protested because this was usual and not to be overlooked. It actually converted to B-rank with the arrival of the Demon Brothers on the way to the client's home. It finally turned to A-rank when Zabuza Momochi was added to the mix. Kakashi explained, and the professor did his stuff silently and nodded in agreement. Now explain why Sasuke Uchiha is bound by chains and why you brought back a 5th member of the group. Hiruzen then addressed the next important case. First thing is that when our team fought against Zabuza once more, the Uchiha both used Naruto-kun as a shield to block an enemy attack and stabbed the same in the side just before the latter was to deal the final blow to his opponent. Both acts nearly put Naruto in danger and on the verge of death, but the Uchiha did the two without remorse. Kakashi explained with everyone, even the hidden ANBU in the shadows, glared at the subject of question. Even ninjas never perform such dirty tactics, especially when it targets only their own comrades. I see. Nice thinking that you came to me first instead of the council. Unlike them, I don't allow such behavior slide when it concerns my own ninjas. Unboo. Hiruzen said until he summoned his guards who arrived by a blur. Take the bounded Uchiha to both have his chakra sealed and ninja status striped permanently. Understood. Hi Hokage-sama. They replied, and soon, Sasuke heard it too and stopped squirming and started to shout instead. You can't do that to me. I am the last Uchiha. I need to kill Itachi. I need my power. Sasuke yelled in his usual self-important attitude that only served to make everyone deaf faster than Sakura's shouting. I can't believe I was like that, complaining like a brat for less. Sakura thought as the ANBU successfully restrained the enraged Sasuke and placed him to face Hiruzen. Don't fret, last Uchiha-sama. Hiruzen said in a tone that stretched the title clearly for everyone to notice. I am aware that you are the only Uchiha in Konoha, so we are going to make sure your clan will be reborn, but in our own way. No! I should be the one to rebuild my clan. It needs me as clan head. Sasuke is still complaining and the ANBU still hold him down. Based on your behavior on your first real mission outside the village, you are not the model of even a genin, as you placed your own comrades in danger because you wanted your way. Ninjas may be expected to kill but also to protect their own fellow ninja, Hiruzen said without any flinching in his voice. What kind of clan head would just cause his clan members to be killed the same day he is made clan head? ANBU, take this piece of trash to the hospital, and if they argue or protest against my orders, take them to me whatever they want to or not. Understood. Hi! They said, and before the disgusting voice of Sasuke could even peep, they were gone in a blur. Now then, Haku-san, Hiruzen addressed the visitor, and she went in his range of vision. You are not in trouble or anything because ever since Team 7 has brought you to my office, you hadn't moved to kill either of them. I just want an overview on your skills. Hi Hokage-sama. My skills include Chunin level Taijutsu, silent killing by Zabuza, medical ninjutsu, and my Hayatan bloodline. Haku answered, and Hiruzen raised his eyebrows at the last one. Explain. I gained this power from my mother, but my father didn't know until I was only 5'1", and that was when he assembled a crowd to kill both her and me. Haku said her entire story, right up to when she arrived in Konoha. I see. Right now, I need to find a replacement for Sasuke in Team 7 and an additional practitioner of medical ninjutsu. Can you handle both? Hiruzen said, and Haku thought it over. She was about to suggest something else when she felt someone's hand on both her shoulders and looked to see both Sakura and Naruto looking at her with assuring look in their eyes, as if to say it is going to be okay and she shouldn't be afraid to be honest. Hokage-sama, I am sure that I can handle both jobs. Haku finally said, and Hiruzen filled out the blanks in the sheet of paper on the subject. Besides, I will feel content if I am allowed to spend time with my new younger brother. That last one ended with a teasing streak in both Haku's eyes and tongue that made everyone snicker and Naruto to pout. Just don't treat me like a baby. I left that life years ago. Naruto muttered, and yet everyone still heard it, and just couldn't hold it in any longer, as the snicker erupted in a laugh. Naruto never felt so low in his whole life. Thankfully for him, he felt ready to take rank and improve some things in his home that he should have done years before. After giving the rest of the report to the Hokage, Team 7 with its newest member went for a walk with the rest of the day off to do what was on their mind. Things like Sakura's parents, who may or may not be happy with Sasuke's punishment, and the former losing her crush on the latter. Another thing is Hinata's everlasting crush on Naruto that he regrets not noticing it earlier. The problem was to decide which to give a shot at and hope it will be solved peacefully. Cool hot guy. Naruto was knocked out of his thought when he heard Sakura call out for some name, so he turned his head to see no one around. What are you thinking? Now Naruto was certain Sakura is talking to him, just trying to figure out whatever to go to Hinata or your parents' MMP. Naruto was interrupted with when Sakura suddenly placed her hand on his mouth. I know what we are going to do. We are going to visit Hinata so you finally notice her crush for you. Sakura said sternly. What about you and Haku? Naruto asked, and to be clearer, are you going to talk to Hinata too? She hadn't heard the memo about my new sister or how friendly I and Sakura are. The two girls giggled and then swarmed over the blonde, making him rather uncomfortable and nervous before they kissed each cheek at a time. Not even worried about what Hinata would do to you. About what this could mean for you personally. You are the sweetest little brother I can ever have. Haku cooed, which made Naruto feel embarrassed now. He got worried about the girls for nothing. Meanwhile, in the Hokage Tower, Hiruzen was working through paperwork once again, but this time, he is using a creation of his direct processor, 1. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. He couldn't help but recount on how he finally found the secret from the most unlikely source, Naruto Uzumaki. Flashback, Team 7 plus Haku were still in the Hokage's office. But seriously, Gigi, you still haven't figured out how to defeat paperwork? I have been waiting for you to tell me because you are the professor. Naruto argued, and he got his share of bumps for his disrespect for the Hokage. I know. My successor said he discovered it, but he was so stingy and was stubborn about revealing it without a challenge. One of my students, who taught him, had figured it out, but he only gave a paper to bash my head on once I figured it out. Can't anyone spare an old man from such torture? Hiruzen spoke like a drama queen that caused sweat drops down everyone else's necks and backs. Why not use Kage Bunshin? They are solid, and dispelling them can cause their memories to return to you. Naruto pointed out that caused a period of silence in which the only sound that followed was that of a drawer opening, a piece of paper pulled out and being placed on a table, and the banging of one's head that made a voice like baka, baka. Everyone took it as the memo that they are dismissed as of this very moment, so they left an old man to his self-punishment. Hiruzen then helped himself to finally conquering paperwork with the Kage Bunshin. This way, he can enjoy his favorite books, which so happened to be written a perverted author and a successful peeping Tom. End of flashback. After remembering that moment for the umpteenth time, Hiruzen returned to his work of having 2 clones write paperwork, while 3 clones handled the carrying of the paper stacks out of the office. The professor was around 2/3 done when there was a knock on the door. "Come in," he said, and his guests were what he should have seen coming a mile or 2 away. His former teammates from when they learned under the first 2 Hokages and Sakura's parents. "What brings more headaches to my office today?" Hiruzen said smoothly, and it got his desired reaction on their faces: anger, shock, and disbelief. "We demand that Sasuke-sama's punishment to be uplifted and his status as a shinobi to be returned to him." Koharu spoke in a strict tone that instead made Hiruzen's eye roll in annoyance. "I have said before, unless there is proof that I gave an unfair punishment to one of my villagers, Sasuke's fate will not be removed." Hiruzen spoke in a stern tone of his own that didn't make things easier. "And why you two are here?" Hiruzen pointed at Sakura's parents. "We have heard that our only daughter is hanging out with the demon you placed on her team with Sasuke-sama. So, we want Sakura to forget about the dangerous brat, and will focus more on making Sasuke marry her." Mabuki and her husband, Kizachi, voiced their own demands that did give Hiruzen a headache. "I should have known you would complain to me instead of Sakura-chan, but even someone like me would reconsider my view on the world if I saw one of my comrades use another as a meat shield or stabbing the latter." Hiruzen said that the strict parents gasped while the stinking trio of soggy old bag of bones just scowled. There is no proof that Sasuke-sama had performed such acts. They were just rumors set by the demon brat and liars. Hamura pointed out but was silenced by an instant blast of pure ki, too, coming from Hiruzen himself. "No proof? Just a rumor made by Naruto-kun? Liars, huh?" The Hokage spoke in a tone that sent shivers down his former teammates' backs while the selfish and married couple just wasted away in a corner under the mere pressure of the ki. "My proof is the report made by the teacher you wanted for Team 7, Kakashi Hatake himself. He even had to show where the Senbon were forced into Naruto's entire body and also the stab wound that never happened. It was even burned in order to stop the bleeding, like he said in his report." Hiruzen then took a copy of Kakashi's mission report that had pictures of Naruto's wounds and threw the folder right in front of the eyes of his audience. "Sakura-chan even agreed to this report, so feel free to call her a liar when you have been trying to get her to become one of the Uchiha's breeding factories. If that is what you are going to complain to me about, then get lost, because I will not stand by while my own villagers make their own look like fools just for some ungrateful and spoiled brat. And that last part was your own fault." Umbu, the 4 hidden guards revealed themselves while surrounding the wrinkly bags of skin and bones along with the Harunos. "Yes, Hokage-sama, Naruto-kun was right about me letting my traitorous and former teammates to do what they want with the power they stole from me. Place them in prison and make sure to take back what Danzo team also stole from this village," Hiruzen ordered, and when the mummy tried to flee, the ANBU tore off the restraints to reveal an arm with Sharingan in them along with the face of the first Hokage. They deactivated the Sharingan along with the one in Danzo's right eye socket and removed them for storage and stolen property. Danzo also tried to kill the ANBU for the Sharingan back when they sliced and diced his body instead and right in front of the Harunos. Hiruzen looked to see their expressions on their faces. This is what ninjas looked and witness as part of the job, so if you think you can take charge of such horrors and burdens, you better get used before you get killed by those feelings that are coursing through your body and are ravaging your mind. That tone was like that of an interrogator's, and it got them quiet for now. ANBU continued to imprison the elders as well as eliminating the civilian council permanently. "Hi, Hokage-sama." And just like that, the 4 silent and masked assassins disappeared in a blur. "As for you two," Hiruzen said to the quivering couple in the corner, "we are going to have a long talk about your daughter." The 2 slowly got into a pair of chairs in order to soothe the emotional pain they are feeling. "Don't worry, we will wait our turn to talk to Hinata about what is happening. Just don't forget to give her a reminder about that," Sakura said, and that made Naruto finally feel relieved. With no other doubts or incidents, the new Team 7 arrived at the Hyuga compound where the clan personally owns and lives in. Halt. Of course, such an important place should have gate guards, and this one does. One of them was actually awake on duty and was also the one who yelled and raised his hand. "What business do you have in the Hyuga compound? We wish to speak with the heiress since this is about her fellow rookies," Naruto said politely and straight to the point, and then took something out of his pocket. "The Hokage gave me this before we left his office." The guard looked to see a piece of paper saying that Team 7 has the right to enter the compound if they wish, and it even had the Hokage's signature to prove it. "Fine. But make sure you have in hand in case Hayashi-sama wants to know why a bunch of commoners are in his compound," the guard said in a rather polite and suggesting tone, like he didn't want Team 7 to get into serious trouble. Naruto nodded, and they were pointed in the direction of Hinata's room within the compound, to which they followed to the word. Pretty soon, they reached a door on the 2nd floor and the 3rd door to the left of the nearest set of stairs. 4. Sakura and Haku were given the pass in case another of the Hyuga wants the reason of their visit and presence in their compound. Naruto knocked, and was answered with a come-in from inside that sounded like Hinata. "Hello, Hinata," Naruto said as he let himself in and closed the door behind him and got the girl's attention as she squeaked and covered her face in a blush. "She does blush when around me. That is a sure sign that she does have a crush on me," Naruto thought as he found a seat and sat next to her location within the room. "How you been?" "I've been good," Hinata said in a meek voice that she always hated, but instead Naruto found it to be cute as he made a bright and foxy smile that nearly caused her to faint. But soon Naruto's expression turned serious, and Hinata was able to tell that Naruto visited her for more than tease her and make her die from blushing. "But more importantly, is it true that you had a crush on me?" Hinata felt like she was at a breaking point in her life. She just can't afford to miss it up. All she had to do was to be honest, and not try to stretch the truth too much. "Yes, Naruto-kun." Hinata even surprised herself along with everyone else by not stuttering or hesitating. For now, Hinata would just play along and hope for the best from her decision. "Ever since I've seen you shown bravery and strong spirit to live through your horrible life with a smile on your face," Hinata answered, and Naruto just raised an eyebrow, so she continued, "I was hoping to be your friend so you could share that courage with me while I share love that families feel with you so you won't have to be lonely again." Hinata then braced herself for any form of reject that could come from Naruto, but she instead got a tight and sudden embrace by the blonde. Somehow, Hinata didn't feel herself blushing, but instead she was enjoying this until Hinata heard crying and felt tears coming down on her shoulder that Naruto placed his head on. She returned the hug and Naruto tightened his embrace and cried some more. "What's wrong, Naruto-kun?" "Hinata, I now see everything." Hinata was puzzled by Naruto's voice that sounded like it was almost broken. "I've kept you worrying about me rejecting you, and I go through the same feeling every single day." Hinata was now feeling like crying herself, but she still remained silent. "You don't have to feel bad anymore. I understand why you want to be my friend. I wish to know people like you for a while. Now, can I hope to make up for making you worry?" Hinata couldn't take it anymore and cried into Naruto's chest with the blonde looking down on her for a change. "Thank you, Naruto-kun. I will give everything I have to be your friend." "Count on it." Hinata spoke in a clear voice despite digging her face into Naruto's chest. As for the blonde himself, he felt like his troubles are finally uplifting as he gained another friend that could someday to be even greater in a sense. Location unknown. It looked like a vast cavern that was very dark, almost impossible to see anything inside, but there was an outline of a giant statue of a monstrous look and a blind fold where the eyes should be along with a scroll in its jaws. On the floor, 2 hands with 5 fingers each looked like it emerged from the ground. On each of the fingers, there was either a black figure or strange light in the shape of a person. "Leader-sama, why are we here?" "I was busy making my masterpieces." One of the transparent ones that looked like a hunchback complained. "Yeah. I was going to make sacrifices out of those fucking villagers in their crappy town." Another of these shadows of strange light that looked more human than the last complained. Still, his tone was a lot louder and anxious than the last. "Actually, I wish to know that myself." The leader seemed to be an average man with spiky hair and strange eyes, but was present at the location as he seemed to be solid and not a hologram of some sort. "Make your report, and it better be good." The subject of order was a creature that had the shape of a person stuck in a Venus flytrap. "Yes, Leader-sama." It seemed that in Wave Country, the last Uchiha had finally awakened his Sharingan. The creature started his report, and one of the shadows present with red eyes raised his eyebrows. "It seems that you are one step closer than killing me, Sasuke-kun," the figure thought as he listened for the report. "Until you interrupt us for that. Just because that brat awakened his bloodline doesn't make him an instant treat to us." One of the transparent figures that looked more like a girl with that hair job, but the voice and personality matched more with a man. His hands seemed to mouths in their palms. He couldn't say any more when the leader raised presence to silence him. "While that is true, and everyone can vote in agreement," the leader said, and sure enough, all of the figures present nodded. "I doubt that is the entire report. With any more interruptions, I would like to hear the rest." "Go ahead." "Of course. Other than that, the real business is the QB container," the creature said, and everyone suddenly gave their full attention. It seemed that during a battle with the holder of the Haitan bloodline, the brat was gifted with both a pair of bloodlines and a water nature on the level of the Nidaime Hokage. Soon, uneasiness was felt in the air. This brat sure is lucky to receive such powers from the one who hates humans the most." A figure that seemed to have shark features even in the dark with a huge object wrapped in bandages snickered and turned to the one with red eyes that is standing next to him. "He can even go against you and win if he was trained properly for once." Surprisingly, no one disagreed or protested, not even the leader. That is true because the Nidaime Hokage was not to be underestimated and was a legend among people the level as us. It is only a matter of time when this brat will get caught up in our plans, and if he was ever to betrayed both his gifts, things will get complicated. The leader said, and everyone nodded. "For now, we just lay low until it is time to start collecting the containers for our plan." Dismissed. On cue, the transparent shadows disappeared, leaving only their shadows left. One seemed to be a woman with a flower in her hair that looked more like paper than petals. "Are you sure that we can go against this new treat?" "Yes, nothing is above a god, and I am one. A god of pain. Don't forget that and go with the plan." The woman signed and replied yes while the leader turned to the plant creature, continued to monitor the other containers and let us know the QB container's next moves that could mean another treat to our organization. Right, Leader-sama. The creature jumped from its place on the giant hands and merged into the ground below. Meanwhile, the leader looked at the statue in the cavern. Soon, this pathetic world will have no more wars and no more suffering when we reveal ourselves as the protectors of the pathetic people who just live and wage wars to get what they want, which are the containers of the monsters that should have been destroyed ages ago. The leader thought as he too left the cavern along with his female companion while leaving the motionless as ever statue to stand in darkness where no one will ever know about its presence. Not even a certain blonde and his future that seemed to be brightening up by the passing day. Soon, this pathetic world will have no more wars and no more suffering when we reveal ourselves as the protectors of the pathetic people who just live and wage wars to get what they want, which are the containers of the monsters that should have been destroyed ages ago. The leader thought as he too left the cavern along with his female companion while leaving the motionless as ever statue to stand in darkness where no one will ever know about its presence. Not even a certain blonde and his future that seemed to be brightening up by the passing day. A couple of weeks have passed since the mission to Wave had officially ended and things were slowly calming down after the Hokage kicked Sasuke off the Shinobi Corps and only kept around to harvest his bloodline as a civilian for the rest of his life. As soon as the word spread, the village was in roars for the Hokage to reconsider and pass the punishment down to the demon brat who was going to betray us because they just know it. Of course, Hiruzen was still bent on not ending his life as a figurehead for a leader and finally act like the professor like in the old days. Now, Team 7 with their official third member to be Haku instead of Sasuke were waiting on the bridge within the village waiting for their teacher to show up. They hoped that since the situation was still dire, Kakashi would at least show up on time. Guess they were wrong big time. Really? You think that sensei would see that we still have to get our teamwork together ever since the team reorganization? Naruto complained as he just lay on the railing while looking at the blue sky that reminded him of Hinata. His female teammates noticed it and smiled. Sakura was happy that her friend for real had found someone to call precious and to share his troubles with, while Haku was also happy that her new little brother finally is improving his stance and lifestyle. It was like the gods had finally gotten tired of him suffering and decided to give him a jump start to a better life. If you are tired of waiting, you could go over and take your girlfriend on another date. Hot cool guy. Haku cooed at her little brother who seemed to look cuter when upset, so she couldn't resent but to revoke him even further, but still kept the distance within her control because she could afford to be separated by another family member she made. Since her parents died, sure it was the father's fault, but she still loved him because he was there, and he helped his wife create a happy childhood for Haku. Naruto was just silent but blushing from the teasing. How was he able to protest when it was too true to be denied? He knew that it was the talk of the village the past couple of weeks that he finally got into a relationship with Hinata, who had been dreaming of being there for the blonde all her life. Did you really have to get Hinata-chan excited about dating me after you had your turn talking to her? Naruto whined that his own teammate and sister respectively had caused a rather awkward start to their relationship. Still, the date was perfect in Hinata's opinion and standards, and even better, the Hyuga clan saw Naruto as a perfect role model to help with the heir's weakness. Flashback. A couple of weeks ago, in Hinata's room within the Hyuga compound, the young genin had finally finished the tear moment. Well, Hinata-chan, I'd better let your other guest have turn with you because they want to talk about something they just won't tell me. Hinata giggled at how Naruto can change from being serious to childish in a cute way. Okay, Naruto-kun, I will see you later. Hinata said, and Naruto got out of his seat and left from the door, and in his place were Haku and Sakura. Sakura-san? And who are you? Hinata said, confused about her latest guests. Of course, this is the first time we met, but my name is Haku. I was allowed into your ranks after Naruto-kun brought me to Konoha for a new life and a real home for once. The girl introduced herself while shaking Hinata's hand. Also, I am adopting Naruto-kun as my younger brother as soon as I can gain a home in this village. Now Hinata wanted answers. But why Naruto-kun? Any boy in this village can be your brother. Hinata asked, and the answer she got was Haku's laughter. True, but Naruto-kun is the sweetest boy I ever met. He even begged to have the Hokage enlist me into the shinobi crops. Haku explained before returning to laughing again, and Hinata giggled as she tried to picture Naruto begging for someone else's own fate, and she did agree it was very sweet. Other than that, Hinata finally got her bearings together and got serious. How can I help both you and Sakura-san? The two girls looked at each other and nodded. We want to know for ourselves how much you love Naruto. Hinata then experienced another one of her infamous blood-red blushes. Hinata managed to stop stuttering around the blonde, but she still needed work when someone is talking about her mountain-sized crush on him. I love him for Hinata was having a hard time gathering her words, but her audience was still listening for her answer. I love him because he doesn't reject me. Hinata shouted that caught everyone off guard, but they soon smiled at the pure honesty in those words. Is that it? Because your crush made your day for accepting you after all these years of fainting around him? Haku asked. That made Hinata feel more like drowning her head in sorrow by the words said, but she remained upright and nodded at every question. Then we will help you learn how to date my little brother. That got Hinata full attention and eagerness that Haku and Sakura looked at each other and nodded. They were in business for sure. Outside, Naruto patiently waited for the girls to finish their girl talk. Then Hinata came out with the biggest smile on her face that Naruto had ever seen. Still, he wasn't crept out and he just went up to her and asked, "How did it go, Hinata-chan?" Hinata blushed at the nickname but managed to keep her composition and just wrapped around Naruto's arm like a woman on her boyfriend. "It went well, Naruto-kun. Your teammates were nice and they are going to help us without troubles." Of course, Naruto was left out of the girls' plans from being behind secure walls the whole time, so he felt really awkward about what Hinata was thinking, but he just nodded and asked, "Since you are in a good mood and it is lunchtime, can I take you to your favorite restaurant? I have enough money for a new home with plenty left over with the reward money from the wave mission along with the team's share given to me." Hinata couldn't be any happier in her life, so much that she couldn't even trust her voice, so she just nodded. Naruto remembered the way out of the compound and allowed Hinata to point in the right directions to a building that sold cinnamon buns for dessert, Hinata's favorite food, with several others below on the list. Naruto had the beginner's dish, and Hinata had the usual meal for lunch, while Naruto also paid for the pile of cinnamon buns that Hinata devoured in a similar fashion to how Naruto devours his ramen. Later, Naruto managed to pay the bill and took Hinata's arm out of the restaurant. She wanted to make this moment into a proper date, so Naruto took her to places like the park all the way to the top of the Hokage monument, where Naruto always found peace and a good view of the village during the sunsets, which the young couple managed to see before it left the sky completely for the day. Now, they were walking through the village on an evening walk, a good time to reflect on how the day was to them, like what a certain blonde is doing. "Well, Hinata-chan, I sure had fun today. You are good company to have around," Naruto told to the girl with lavender eyes who couldn't be any more red in the face. "Stop it, Naruto-kun. I feel like I will die from blushing," Hinata said, and Naruto just smiled at her cuteness. "Anyway, soon it would be time to each of us to get to our homes for the night, and our date isn't over yet, so how do you suggest we make a finale?" Naruto asked honestly, and Hinata made a huge smile on her face. She got even closer to Naruto, as far as her chest on his, and moved her face closer to Naruto's. Somehow, Naruto knew what Hinata had in mind and moved his head just in time for his lips to meet Hinata's. Luckily, there was bench nearby for the couple to fall on and continue kissing. Naruto felt like electricity was running amok through his nerves as he tried to get the best out of this moment, while Hinata was on fire, and she felt like that too as she took in the taste of her crush's lips. They kept at this with a very thin audience watching, and even then, they just scoffed at the Hyuga heiress meddling with the demon brat. However, they needed to breathe, so they finally cut their breath. "Wow. You taste good, Hina-chan," Naruto said in a tired breath. "I could get used to this." Hinata couldn't help but smile and have an atomic blush at her crush's soft words that expressed gratefulness and acceptance. "Thank you, Naruto-kun, for this perfect day and wonderful date," Hinata said, and got another fox smile that made her heart soar higher than before. "No problem. See you tomorrow for another date if you feel up for it," Naruto said as he left Hinata at the gates of her compound with her fingers on her lips, remembering her first kiss to her crush. "Sure, I would, Naruto-kun. I am always up for another date with you, Naruto-kun," Hinata thought as she entered the compound to collapse on her bed for the night. End of flashback. Why not? It was so romantic, and you two really hit off after that one. You two are like the prize couple of the entire village, Haku asked, and once again, Naruto was unable to back out because it was a true fact. Ever since that first date, Naruto and Hinata went on numerous other dates that gotten them even closer, as they were holding hands comfortably in public, and even kissed more often, which really urged other couples to go dates of their own more often. Back to the subject in hand. Where is Kakashi? It took an hour to remember the whole thing about the start of his relationship with Hinata. Surely that was enough time for the teacher to arrive. And he did, after only 3 hours of waiting and irritating. "Good morning, students. Where were you?" That was the wake-up call for everyone else who tried to sleep in this morning. "Sorry. I got lost on the road of life." Kakashi said his infamously lame excuses for his habit of being 3 hours late each time for a meeting or a mission. "The road of life doesn't have spots where you could buy pieces of paper with the words Chunin exam on them, sensei." Naruto decided to play with Kakashi for a bit, and successfully got the scarecrow to blush of embarrassment. "Yes, well, this year is our turn to host the Chunin exams, and they start in a few months, so you would have to train to prepare for them," Kakashi said in a lazy tone, and when he reached for his book in his pouch, he noticed that he couldn't feel it. When Kakashi looked for it, he saw to his horror that Naruto had the book. "You are right, sensei, we do need to train and only you can do that." "So," Naruto said in a cool tone and took out a stick made to act like a torch, "you better do your job at least." Because, Naruto paused again and breathed fire onto the torch. Doing a bad job is better than not doing the job at all, because a bad job means that you actually put some effort to try and do the job, Naruto said with a creepy smile as he slowly shortened the distance between the book and the torch. The girls caught on to his plan and silently hoped that Naruto actually burns the disgusting book in order to torture the lazy excuse for a Jonin sensei. Okay. I will teach you. Just don't hurt my precious," Kakashi hollered like a drama queen for his favorite book by his favorite author. Naruto smirked through the book to the adult, acting like a fool because that is the way to describe his actions to make sure the book won't fall into Naruto's hands again. The girls were disappointed that their teammate actually had mercy for their perverted teacher, but noticed that the blonde never lost his smirk, and when they had a better look of the book, they saw ink and squiggles all over faintly. When Kakashi tried to open the book, a flame sparked on the page he tried to read, and when Kakashi closed the book, the fire disappeared. That caused all looks on Naruto, who seemed to be cool and with a plan to back him up. If you are wondering, I placed a trap on the book. I read about these seals from when Gigi read those books on seals since I couldn't check one out at the public library, Naruto said, and everyone suddenly had a bone to pick with this predicament to the blonde. I made it so the pretty secretary that works under Gigi can count on her boss not reading those books again when he tries to do so behind her back. They sense for any pervert I know by chakra signature or DNA, and when any of them open the book, it will slowly set itself to fire in front of their eyes. So, you had the unfortunate luck of being on my anti-pervert list, sensei. Naruto wigged his eyebrows and Kakashi groaned, but then noticed that Naruto started to leave. Wait! Kakashi yelled out, but Naruto still had a good reason for his actions. Since this day was going to waste while dealing with you, sensei, I'd better put it to good use by taking Hinata-chan out on another date. She wanted to do that if you were late, Naruto said as he went on his way to pick up his girlfriend and have another date with her. He has a good point, sensei. And you better be ready to train us on time tomorrow, or we would have to feed you to the dogs and steal your stuff and learn on our own, Sakura said as she too left to find a better use for this day along with Haku too. Kakashi was left on the bridge finally reflecting on how messed up the team is because of his laziness. Meanwhile, Naruto was with Hinata in the park on a bench talking about their genin days, which became a popular topic since they started dating. So your teacher was late again, Naruto-kun. Hinata couldn't complain that Naruto is good at finding the right time for another date, but she still doesn't approve of this routine with a late teacher going on much longer since it hadn't changed since the wave mission. Yeah. The only thing that actually was important was that Kakashi signed us up for the Chunin exams with only a couple months to train for, Naruto said with a tone that sounded like he was in a real bind, and it was related to his sensei's terrible habit. And if he keeps showing up late, we barely could have a month worth of training. This sucks, Naruto muttered with a defeated tone until Hinata pecked him on the cheek, which brightened him up. Hey, you two. The couple turned to see Sakura and Haku, who appeared to have been looking for them. Did we ruin your date? Sakura-san, we were just hanging out, and when our date happens is our business only, Naruto said in complete control, and Sakura smiled at Naruto's choice of words. Not calling me Sakura-chan in front of Hinata is a way of not breaking her heart, and he is still holding me in respect. You are so noble, Naruto-kun. I would have to talk to Hinata about even the chance of being your friend, Sakura thought until she was interrupted by Naruto's other statement. Can we help you, or you were just making we were doing okay? Naruto asked and brought up a good point. Why is Sakura and Haku interested in exactly what he does with his girlfriend? Yes, you can, Sakura said with no fear in her tone. You can help me by going on dates with me. Now everyone was shocked, especially Hinata, but before she could speak, Naruto raised his hand. If I was going to date you as well as Hinata, I expect that the two of you will come to an agreement on whose turn is it to date me unless you agree to date me together. I will quell any fighting that will start to happen, but I can't date those I don't know personally or those who can't get along. Understand? Naruto set his expectations, and that successfully destroyed any doubt or anger or confusion in everyone's hearts. Yet the million real question was just about to be brought to light. Are you wishing to date me because of what happened on the bridge? Because I hold two bloodlines? Silence filled the air as soon as those words left Naruto's mouth. No one even tried to protest or argue against it. Sakura was trying to either, but instead, she tried to bring the words out of her mouth. That's right. I am, but there is more to it than that. Naruto was curious, so he remained silent, and that told Sakura to continue. Ever since I saw how Sasuke tried to kill you for such selfish reasons, my crush on him had died. The others noticed that Sakura didn't address the little self-loving traitor as Sasuke-kun like in the academy. There is just this feeling that started growing with every time I see you in action, both with actions and words even now. I hope that dating you would give me the answers and I may even fall in love with you. Sakura managed to say it even though she felt awkward and afraid that she would be rejected for asking such a selfish request. Instead, Naruto went to her and placed his right hand over her shoulder. Sakura, you are confused with your own feelings and are now trying to understand them. I am still your teammate, and I can't let myself abandon you when you are in times of need. But I wouldn't force you to love me. We are still strangers, but we can still become friends if it doesn't work out. That speech was enough for Sakura to forget her doubt, and shamelessly hugged Naruto in a burst of joy and rising love for the blonde. Thank you, Naruto. I know I am falling for the right man. Sakura just couldn't focus on the outside world now. Her mind was filled to the brim with happiness and the thoughts of a bright future. Naruto just hugged her back and looked back at his girlfriend. Come on, Hinata-chan. Don't be left out on the fun. Naruto's voice was gentle and welcoming, so Hinata never tried to fight it, so she raced towards her boyfriend, whom she also hugged and kissed square on the lips. This caused others to go ah at the cute scene. That is the Naruto-kun I know and love. Hinata squealed as she dove into her boyfriend's warmth. Then the two girls yawned, which Naruto chuckled at. Thanks for the comfort, girls, but today had been a long one. Why not we go to our homes and finish this day off so that we can get down to real training with Kakashi? Naruto said, and Hinata kissed his lips while Sakura pecked him on the cheek. Unless you want to sleep with me, sorry Naruto-kun, but we can't seem to let you go. Our hearts make it hurt to do it. Sakura said in a voice that made her sound embarrassed, but Naruto just ignored it and rubbed her back with affection that calmed her down. That's fine, Sakura-chan, me and Hinata-chan wouldn't mind you joining us. Let's just be ready to hear complaints in the morning to where you went. We will even help you out. Naruto said, and Sakura's heart soared when she saw Hinata nod eagerly at Naruto's words. After that moment and Haku leaving for her new home, Naruto took Hinata and Sakura to his new home he managed to buy with his pay raise after what happened during the report on the Wave mission. He often allowed Hinata to skip sleeping in the Hyuga compound to sleep with her boyfriend in his bed. Thankfully, the bed in question was big enough for up to 5 average-sized people in Naruto's age group. That was where Naruto and his girls slept that night. Not one complained since they had the one thing warmer than any blanket, Naruto himself. Tomorrow morning came as soon as night did, so everyone wanted to stay in bed even with the sun flooding their rooms with its hot and bright rays of light. Yet, in one of these houses and bedrooms, there are 3 sleepers who just couldn't get comfortable and rose. The shapes were that of 2 women and a single man. They were Hinata, Sakura and Naruto. They just had their first night together in the same bed. Good morning, girls, how was your first night? Naruto said politely, and his answer was both Hinata and Sakura hugging him like he was their lifeline. It was great. You were like a rock and a very warm one at that. I am glad you improved your diet, Sakura said while purring like a cat. As for the diet comment, Naruto did hit a growth spurt when he finally fixed his problem with how he could only eat ramen when everything else was sold spoiled and overpriced to Naruto in every grocery store. Thanks. I am still mad at myself for not thinking about using henge to buy real food. Naruto chuckled and the two girls both giggled along. Now, let's go and change to have breakfast before we are thrown into an awkward situation, especially after we just woke up, Naruto suggested, and his bedmates nodded. Of course, Naruto changed in another room to where the girls dressed since Naruto didn't want to push his chances for a relationship with Sakura that far. While they were at it, Naruto went to the kitchen to prepare breakfast. During the 2 weeks dating Hinata, he managed to develop a cooking sense since having takeout was starting to get old, and no longer a great option for taking your girlfriend to for diners. Naruto loved cooking. It was his way of actually putting some effort into becoming his own person, and that if he had any diner guests, he didn't have to make them eat 3-minute ramen every time. Cooking also seemed to help him relax when he didn't have his friends around to do the same. Finally, the two girls came down to see their favorite meals in the morning on the table, and Naruto was finishing the table settings. He smiled at the sight of 2 fair girls drooling just over breakfast. Fortunately, he managed to learn the recipes of the dishes they love so he can pleasure them at rare times that they can stay at his new house. Come now, my ladies, you don't like your favorite food going cold, don't you? Naruto said playfully as he used his pointer fingers to gently close their mouths, which successfully knocked them out of their stupor and blush from embarrassment. They then dove in for breakfast while Naruto ate his at a slower pace than he normally did since he didn't want to gross out his guests. One of them is his girlfriend. After a good meal and cleaning up, there was a knock on the door. Naruto answered it to see that he had early morning guests. Kazashi and Mabuki Haruno, Sakura's parents. Naruto, being the gentleman he tries his best at, just allowed them to enter the house since there was no use stopping them. They are here for a reason other than just visiting him. Hinata and Sakura peeked out to see who was at the door and was a little surprised to see the latter's family members there, but didn't say a word to Naruto since they also knew about the instant situation. Is there anything we can do for you? Naruto said to his new guest. Yes, you can tell us why our daughter is not at home and at your house. Did you take her here? Kazashi brought the topic straight and to the point. Naruto sighed as he took a seat in the living while his guest took the love seat. I assure you, Haruno-sans, I did nothing of the sort you are accusing me. Last night, your daughter came to me asking to spend the night with me. Naruto said the real truth in a calm voice. We are not mad but just confused because we know our daughter, and she hated you and would prefer to sleep with Uchiha-sama rather than you. Mabuki said, and the two girls from the corner flinched at the stab, yet their host didn't stir. I could be speaking for myself, but on our last mission 2 weeks ago, Uchiha-sama nearly tried to get me killed for his own hide. He even interfered with a battle I was fighting after he lost just he could take the credit of weakening my opponent and kill her, Naruto said, and the two Haruno gasped just to show how left out of shinobi matters they were. Then Naruto brought up something rather important for both parents and daughter. If you think that signing up your daughter to be a shinobi just to get Sasuke's attention, then you just throwing away Sakura-chan away like a broken rag doll. She had no way of being prepared to witness the horrors of being a ninja like she had to see on the bridge. The two elder Harunos were a little troubled, but Naruto wasn't finished. That made a real dent into Sakura's mind and spirit as she was on the verge of breakdown after seeing her crush kill off their teammate for protecting them and fighting his own battles. Unless you will reconsider your stance about the whole thing, you might as well lose a daughter to the world of ninja you threw her in without a second thought. It is a scary world out there, think about it. Naruto spoke in Sakura's defense, and her parents couldn't think of what to say in return. Fine, Uzumaki-san, you win. Our daughter can be with you if you can continue to prove that you are helping her mentally. Kizashi said in a stern tone. Then I will keep training so I can keep that promise. That is why I'm working hard to be the best ninja I can be. I finally got friends and I don't intend of throwing them away so easily, Naruto said with the same confidence as he did the entire day. With that in mind, the two elder Harinos left by the front door so in shame that they couldn't even face their daughter they knew was watching and listening the entire time. Speaking of which, the two girls just went to Naruto and hugged him like overjoyed children, each with a new toy to play with. And for good reason, because now Sakura can hope to make friends with Hinata and gain support from someone who had to see worse than her in his whole lifetime. After all that was done with and Hinata left for her own team, leaving behind a goodbye kiss to Naruto, leaving the blonde still red in the face and a giggling Sakura. Come on, Romeo, this is our chance to really be a team now that Kakashi promised to train us for good this time, Sakura said playfully and successfully got Naruto to leave his stupor. He then nodded and walked towards training ground 7 with Sakura clutching his arm, from which she really couldn't help resisting. When they arrived, they found a miracle, Kakashi actually beating them to where they go for team meetings and training. The Cyclops looked up to see two of his students in such a cute position. Nice to see that you two are getting along, but you better save the hugs and kisses for when no one can interrupt your new fun, Kakashi said casually, which got his two students blushing like ripe tomatoes. Sensei, they deserved a chance since Sakura-san is finally stepping up her game as a kunoichi. A voice that sounded familiar was heard, and when eyes turned in its direction, Haku was leaning on a nearby tree. But you are right, they look cute especially when they are without clothes and lay in bed with only the covers hiding their bodies. Enough! Haku's teasing came to a halt when that thunderous yell made itself known. And it happened to come from Naruto. We get the point, and can we get started before we die of embarrassment? Even before we finally get some training from Kakashi-sensei? Sakura smiled that Naruto was good at getting the point and not drifting off the trail too far. She just couldn't resist trying to get closer to his natural warmth radiating of his chest, which was actually well built to be hidden under the hideous jumpsuit from the academy. The duo audience just couldn't enough of the scene themselves, including Naruto's disturbed but calm reaction to Sakura's change of character and actions. Alright then, to start with is to unlock your elemental affinities, Kakashi said to defuse the situation before it could get awkward or messy. This got Naruto and Sakura's interest, while Haku had an idea on what her new teacher is talking about. Then the one-eyed Jonin took our 3 sheets of paper in perfect squares. What are those called, sensei? Sakura asked eagerly, since she didn't doubt that her teacher would bring ordinary paper to their real lesson. I am glad you asked, Sakura, because others would just think I am messing with them by showing these, Kakashi said, and Sakura felt a little warm from the praise she is not used to even at home or during the academy. They are called chakra paper, and they are created from the wood of a special tree that reacts to chakra better than any other. It is their reactions to an individual's chakra nature that we can tell what type it is. It helps us find out the nature type to focus on primary, Kakashi explained, and everyone took it into their memory banks. Don't be discouraged, anyone can use the 5 elemental natures taught in the academy: wind, fire, water, earth, and lightning. It is just difficult to practice an element outside your primary affinity. So the 3 are for us, huh? Naruto remarked, and Kakashi nodded. So how can we tell which elemental nature is for each individual? It goes like this: it wrinkles with lightning, it burns with fire, it soaks with water, it crumbles with earth, and finally it splits with wind. That is how we can tell. Kakashi finished his explanation, and now was the time to see the verdicts for themselves. It was Haku who went first, since she obviously used an elemental jutsu during the battle on the bridge. Her paper split into 2 with both pieces soaking. Kakashi wrote it down as both wind and water. Sakura went next, since she was the most excited about it. Her paper half crumbled and half soaked. Kakashi jotted down as both earth and water. Finally it was Naruto's turn, and this one was the most interesting. His paper soaked until it almost disappeared, but not before splitting into 2, and the 2 pieces somehow caught fire and burned to ashes instead. Kakashi nearly lost his focus on that note, and so did the 2 girls present. Well, Naruto-kun, I have seen this only in bloodline users like Haku-san, but I never met someone with a dual bloodline before, Kakashi said, and Naruto nodded because he too couldn't trust his voice within the shock and confusion from the chakra paper. From what I have seen from the battle on the wave bridge, you were able to overpower Haku's ice with your own. That will mean you two can learn from each other. Get into that routine when we are meeting for training or missions, Kakashi said, and the 2 bloodline users nodded. I don't know about the second bloodline that you call fun, but I can help you with your katan since it seemed to be a component of it. Thanks, Kakashi-sensei. Can we get started? Naruto said with eagerness in his voice that made Kakashi smile, that can be seen even with a mask that is over his face 24/7. For the rest of the day, they went over the basic exercises for the elements listed from the chakra paper. They also went over on how the academy messed up on Naruto's and Sakura's taijutsu stances, and they planned on fixing that throughout the 2 months before the Chunin exams. Afterwards, Naruto walked Sakura home and went to his own to sleep in his bed, feeling rather lonely without the company of his girlfriend and his soon-to-be second girlfriend under the covers under him. He dreamed about becoming stronger to protect them, and how he would love to stop asking for permission to date the girls he cares about the most. Well girls, the 2 months went past so fast. The Chunin exams start just tomorrow, can you believe it? Naruto said in pure excitement that Sakura and Hinata could only giggle at. They were having lunch at the Ichiraku ramen stand since it was a special occasion, and only on those or once every 2 weeks, Naruto was allowed to bring himself or any of the girls out on a date there. Ramen was delicious, but Sakura and Hinata are not to let Naruto continue living on it alone any longer after finally getting him to start a healthier diet. Sure has, and I think I just got a miracle worker for a boyfriend, Sakura said while snuggling in Naruto's arm, which got touchy, the owner of the ramen stand, chuckling and Hinata giggling along with I am, the owner's daughter. Of course, Sakura wasn't just playing with words with that miracle worker remark. Over the past 2 months, Naruto did create a miracle as Kakashi finally got into a habit on being on time for either team training or Jonin meetings with the Hokage. Everyone, genin or Jonin alike, begged to know the secret, and they got their answer as Naruto said that everyone had to follow the way of a ninja. Of course, he spoiled his girls by spilling the beans and they understood it. They also found out how fun it is to see others rack it out their minds to solve the riddle. As for the boyfriend remark, during the 2 months of training and dating, Naruto really hit it with Hinata to point of the two wanting to become one, but the real big news was that after only a few times together, Naruto finally got a relationship with Sakura with Hinata's permission. The Lavender Princess had only one condition about the double dating, that the number of dates will always be even and that Naruto would share his time for both girls. Surprisingly, Naruto really did great while following the rules, and dating 2 girls seemed to become natural for him. Some couples were getting jealous on how Naruto was so good at dating and women in general. Thanks Sakura-chan. I do my best to pleasure you. Naruto cooed at his Sakura-haired girlfriend, who just giggled at how true that statement is. I promised my students that I will be on time from now on, but this meeting is going to make me late whatever I can help it or not. Kakashi moaned as he was interrupted from meeting his students to take a detour to the Hokage office for the team selection to complete in the Chunin exams. Once he arrived, the other Jonin were shocked that he was actually on time, and they only heard him complain about being forced to be late to his team meeting. That was no excuse, and they actually felt bad about this time making the infamous Kakashi late directly. The Hokage as well as Kurenai and Asuma felt the worst because they made themselves as examples of hypocrites since they were the ones who hated Kakashi for being late, and now they made him late themselves. Okay Kakashi, I am sorry, but this meeting is important, and if you play your words right, your students will understand it since this is a chance that doesn't happen every year. Hiruzen said to settle down the awkwardness and guilt that was floating in the air. Fine, but this should be good because I was finally getting into the habit of being on time from now on, Kakashi mumbled as he took place among his fellow Jonin in front of the Hokage. Right, now since this year is Konoha's turn to host the Chunin exams, we need to know who will be entering them. Any teams nominated? Hiruzen asked the Jonin in a row until he got his answer. I, Hatake Kakashi, Jonin Sensei of Team 7, nominate Naruto Uzumaki, Sakura Haruno and Haku for the exams. Kakashi answered. I, Kurenai Yuhi, Jonin Sensei of Team 8, nominate Hinata Hyuga, Kiba Inuzuka and Shino Aburame for the exams. Kurenai answered. I, Asuma Sarutobi, Jonin Sensei of Team 10, nominate Shikamaru Nara, Ino Yamanaka and Choji Akimichi for the exams. Asuma answered. I, Mighty Guy, Jonin Sensei of Team 9, nominate Niji Hyuga, Rock Lee and Tenten Higurashi, 1, for the exams. Guy answered in rather serious tone, then yelling nonsense. Soon everyone was whispering about the rookies listed until, wait! Everyone turned their attention to Irika, who was also present since he was there when every one of the teams listed had graduated. I understand Team 7 and Hinata, but the rest are not ready for these exams. Now that was what got everyone confused. You think that my team and Guy's team are not ready for these exams? Asuma said in a rather offended tone by Irika's proclaim. Yes, because I visited every one of those I listed and seen them in action. They are the most ready to be Chunin out of the rookies nominated. Your teams and Guys just know the basics while the rest know more than that. Irika explained, undaunted by the Jonin unhappy with his statement about who is ready and who is not by his own standards. Meanwhile, Kakashi and Kurenai actually feel good that Irika believes that their teams are ready for the exams. Kurenai knew that Hinata was the one who benefited the best from her training as she learned more about taijutsu and ninjutsu from Kakashi's team. And in return, Hinata helped them in the area of genjutsu that her team learned. In any case, Irika, Hiruzen said, all 4 Konoha teams are going to be part of the exams. The Hokage said, and Irika was half down since he was ignored in his warning about the teams, and he was half up that his suggestions were actually listened. Now that is done, I am already late in meeting my team thanks to this, and you should go too because I heard that a lot of people became deaf after hearing Kunoichi complain to late teachers. Kakashi said and then disappeared in a puff of smoke and leaves, leaving the rest of the Jonin anxiously trying to get to their teams as well. Man, ramen never gets old or flat. That is why ramen is one of my favorite foods and that restaurant is one of my favorite places to be. Naruto yelled at the top of his voice while walking away with a filled tummy. The girls noticed that he looked at them when made the one of his favorite places to be comment. That made them blush at the thought of Naruto saying that on his list of places he loves to be is with both of them. Then they heard a noise and the sound of an argument. Naruto recognized one of the voices as Konohamaru Sarutobi, direct grandson of the third Hokage and one of Naruto's best buddies as well, an admirer of him. The trio had no clue what caused it, but they were too curious to ignore it, so they all went into the direction of the racket. They found Konohamaru indeed along with two kids his age behind him, but the boy himself was held by his scarf by a boy wearing makeup and a cat suit, with a girl a little older than him carrying a huge fan on her back and trying to stop him. I am telling you, Temari, I would only be a moment. This brat will pay for disrespecting his elders. The clown boy said in a confident tone, but he seemed to be ignorant enough to leash out on a family member of the Hokage, the one who manages both his own ninja and any other visitors. But Kankuro, he would be here soon, and if he sees us wasting our time, we are both dead. The girl named Temari protested against the boy who must be wearing her makeup. I would listen to the fair lady, you clown in a catsuit. Naruto said to make his presence known, and when that happened, he revealed to have snatched Konohamaru in a second and made back to his original position. Another benefit about Kakashi's training that had caused his speed to rocket upwards, and also since he learned the Shunshin. And who are you to tell me what to do? And give me the brat already. Kankuro yelled at the top of his voice, yet he couldn't continue when he felt something sharp poking in the behind. He looked to see the rest of Naruto's team, making sure he doesn't do anything he would regret. I am because you may be outsiders for the Chunin exams, but you were only a few minutes from hitting the grandson of the third Hokage. If I didn't stop that from happening, we would have to say goodbye to you and the rest of your siblings. Naruto answered, and the Leaf residents were confused. The foreigners were scared while Naruto was grinning and then looked up at a nearby tree. I am talking to you, bub, with the red hair and a gourd on your back. Come down like the coward you are not. When the boy didn't listen, the branch he was hanging from while using chakra obviously had turned to ice and shattered. Fortunately, he used his own Shunshin to relocate himself near the foreigners. I told you that the Koryori no Jutsu will work, Haku-chan. Naruto suddenly acted like a child that goes I told you so over and over like a chant. Fine, Naruto-kun, I guess I better keep practicing it myself. You wanted to teach me something after all the basics I taught you, huh? Haku sighed and countered that childish pout. During the 2 weeks, Haku had helped Naruto in his Hayatan since it is the bloodline they both share, but Naruto wanted to be the teacher for once, and came up with a jutsu that can use the moisture in the air and even inanimate objects to instantly freeze them. Yet as impressive as it is, Haku was only able to teach Naruto some personal Suiton and Futon, but she had no katan for Naruto to use. Only Kakashi did, and that was so small compared how many other elemental jutsu his has on the side. Naruto even went to the shinobi-exclusive library to look up some katan himself, with the help of a henge to get past the librarian who didn't want anyone with whisker marks in her library, of course. While he was at it, he looked up some more futon himself, but the topic on wind manipulation is very scarce since it is hard to find anyone who uses futon in Fire Country. Thus it was hard to find just one, and Naruto is at another dead end. If you are done with you teasing each other, the redhead ninja said, I like to know your name. It's Naruto Uzumaki, and you are? Naruto said coolly as to not cause any trouble. Gaara no Sabaku. The redhead said with very little emotion that freaked out the girls, even the more experienced Haku, as they both were hiding behind Naruto, who looked brave, but he was only doing a good job of hiding his uneasiness. I guess you all are for the Chunin exams. Naruto pointed out, and the foreign ninja team pulled a surprised/quizzical expression. And what gave us away? Kankuro found his courage to be bold again. Well, if otherwise, you would be with your father, the Kazekage, instead of wasting your time threatening kids you don't even know. Naruto explained, and now the ninjas were scared. Okay, how did you? Our father is the Kage of our village. Now it was Temari who was angry that her efforts to remain mysterious instead went up in flames after something only a select few would know got a foreign person next on the list. Because only a Kage can ever survive against a Biju, and no Kage ever demands the child of another couple to be the Jinchuriki. Naruto said smoothly, and the team was getting angry that Naruto was casually giving off secrets, like they don't matter. Temari was about to revoke when she was stopped by Naruto's hand that was raised to silence her. Enough. If you think I am revealing secrets, then why is everyone that is listening to me still clueless? I am trying my best to remain mysterious while spilling the beans, so don't you ruin it if you want to remain in the exams, or the village for that matter. Naruto stated, and they eventually were out of words to speak back. Kankuro and Temari, let's go and meet up with Baki-sensei. Gaara said as the team disappeared, leaving Team 7 with Konohamaru and his pals, who went up with eyes of awe. That was so cool, Naruto and I-san. Thanks. Konohamaru yelled at Naruto, who smiled and patted his head. No problem, Squirt, but you better stay out of trouble if you want to set a better example so that you can become Hokage. Naruto said in a big brother type of a tone towards the young Sarutobi. Don't call me Squirt. Konohamaru still didn't like Naruto's nicknames for him. But I will try my best and I will be Hokage in no time. Well, isn't this heartwarming? A voice appeared, startling everyone, and when they looked up to see Kakashi hanging from a branch while using chakra to stick to the bark. Nice of you to drop on the moment, sensei. Naruto told his teacher off. And before you say another word, was there a Jonin meeting with Gigi about actually getting us in the exams tomorrow? And Nada-chan told us while having ramen while waiting for you. Kakashi actually felt relieved that instead of angry students, he was asked by curious ones. Yes, there was, and I tell you, they said that if I skipped that meeting, We might as well forget this year and wait for the next Chunin exams. Kakashi said, it is at the big arena that sticks out in the village like the Hokage Tower and the Hokage Monument. Be there in an hour. Kakashi then left in yet another shunshin. Come on, let's see if we can find such a thing, Naruto said as he and his team left the alleyway. Pretty soon, they indeed come across something of the description, and their biggest clue was that other genin teams were also entering, and one of them were discussing on how they were going to become Chunin since they had it in the bag. They look like they only been genin for a few months, Sakura pointed out. So why are they thinking that they have what it takes to win in these exams? Probably because they were told that nothing will happen to them if they remain a team, but one of them is bound to be more arrogant and abandon the team for his own glory. Haku addressed her own theory. Whatever the case is, Kakashi-sensei signed us up for these exams, and to change our minds now would just put his efforts to waste. Let's go, Naruto said, and his teammates nodded as they entered the arena corridors as well, only to see their teacher there already. Hello, I am glad you are all here, Kakashi said, and his team was just quizzical about his remark. Seriously, I needed to know if you all were to come after all. What is good about a team in which not all members are willing to go where others want to? Anyway, the room is on the 3rd floor, so be there on time. The genin nodded and went on when their teacher disappeared once again. Inside, they passed some teams that left with sad and downhearted looks on their faces until Team 7 came across another genin team arguing with 2 other genin in front of a door with a sign that said 301. Sakura was about to check it out when she was held back by her teammates. Both shook their heads. Remember how many stairways we went up on? They muttered, and Sakura realized that the door, the sign and the genin guards were just an illusion, so they went on while leaving the teams to figure it out on their own. They ended up in an arena for sure until they heard a voice shouting down to them from some location on the balcony. Hey you! Team 7 looked up to see a boy about a year older than them wearing a jumpsuit more hideous than Naruto's, complete with a green color only seen when people become air sick. You are an angel! The crazy boy with a poorer sense of fashion than Naruto in the academy yelled at Sakura, who flinched at his voice and the fact that she was the subject of the mad rants. Then, the green-covered boy jumped down in front of Team 7, freaking them out more by each passing second. Be my girlfriend. I will protect you with my life. He bowed down and attempted to grab her hand when Naruto slapped it away. Bub, if you are going to woo a girl, then you shouldn't do anything she doesn't want to. Otherwise, you lose a lot of points, Naruto retorted, and Sakura proved his point by nodding while grasping his arm. Yes, and besides, I am already taken. Sakura tried to be as polite and gentle as she can be in telling the big news to this green man who just lowered his head down in disbelief. But then he lifted his head. He shone that his teeth sparkled like he coated it with bleach. Then I will fight you to show that I am more worthy of this angel. What do you OWW? The man with the hideous green jumpsuit yelled out his sickling passion until Naruto silenced him with a bash on the head. We don't even know you, and this is going to make us all late for the first exam. Just tag along and be careful. Girls are warriors of their own accord. They can take you by surprise, Naruto said, and then started dragging the loud-ass green man. When they finally reached the room where they were told to by their teacher, Team 7 noticed that other teams had beat them to it, including one that seemed to be one teammate short. That very team looked to see what Naruto was dragging like a sack of potatoes and hurried towards them. There you are, Lee. We told you not to run off. It was a girl with her hair in twin buns that resembled the ears of a panda, along with girls' summer clothes and sealing scrolls strapped to her belt. I told you to leave him. He was a waste of my time and space. The remaining member was a lot like Hinata, complete with the wide eyes and not pupil, along with a male version of Hinata's clothes. It is what he said that got both Naruto and the girl crossed. Excuse me? If you are here for the Chunin exams, then leaving your teammates will get you kicked out even before the exams can start. Unless you don't want to be a Chunin and remain as a weak genin? Naruto retorted until he started mocking the jerk's choice of words, which got the said boy with white eyes red with anger. I am Niji Hyuga and the one who is going to lead the Hyuga clan, so I must be a Chunin. I don't need worthless teammates who would just slow me down. Niji introduced himself, but Naruto refused to back down. Sorry, Niji-chan, Naruto said in a mocking tone once again. It is either you preserve your pride and never take these exams ever again, or bear with your team and become Chunin. I don't think that the Hyuga clan will welcome a leader who only thinks of ways to throw away who he doesn't like personality, or a member who failed the Chunin exams at first time and before they even started for that matter either, Naruto said, and Niji just wouldn't come up with a way out of this lose-either-way situation, so Naruto turned to the rest of the team, in which the only girl spoke. I am sorry for my teammates. They love to mess with others from the same academy since we all graduated just a year before the rest. The panda girl explained, and she was silenced gently when Naruto firmly brought his hand up. It is no problem, since it is a strange fact that teams are supposed to have quirks, Naruto said, and got everyone else's attention. What makes a team are people grouped together to cover their weaknesses as well as that of others. It is what teamwork is. To solve each other's problems and take on trials together. Naruto explained, and everyone just couldn't even argue about that. So now you are an idealist instead of a ninja? I knew you'd be a bigger pain in the neck once I heard you have 2 bloodlines now. What is so important about that? That was a voice that Naruto knew too well. It was that of Kiba Inuzuka. You can call me whatever you want, I don't care, dog breath. Naruto retorted once he saw that Kiba was behind him as well as his team too, and that included Hinata. Before the Inuzuka could argue back, Hinata raced towards Team 7 and hugged Sakura, who hugged her back. Hinata-chan, Sakura-chan, girlfriend. The two girls said at once, and even a blind man can tell that they are the best of friends since they are the two girls who agreed to share the same boy. Hinata then hugged Naruto and they kissed on the lips, causing the girls to groan about how they are still single. Excuse me? Naruto and Hinata stopped their kissing session to see one of the teams that were already present in the hallway. Their clothes were blue color, and seemingly made for wet cold environments, and their headbands had the symbol of a water droplet on all of them. Are you Naruto Uzumaki? I am, and how can I help you? Naruto was smart enough to know that these foreign ninjas are guests to this village, so they had to be treated like guests in general. Otherwise it could lead to an actual war on bad impressions for less. My name is Akanami Yoshihaku, these are my teammates. The first one was introduced as a girl and seemingly the leader of the team as she pointed towards the one on her right. His name is Mizusane Taraira, then to her left, and his name is Chojuro. We all are from Kirigakure here to take the Chunin exams on selection of the Godane Mizukage. Naruto was shocked at that statement. What the Mist team understood unlike everyone else, so the blonde explained. I see, so the Yandane Mizukage who caused the civil war has finally been defeated and a new Mizukage was elected, huh? Naruto asked, and the Mist ninja team nodded. Yes, and her name is Mei Tarimi. She wished to meet you personally once she arrives. Akanami answered, and Naruto nodded in affirmative, yet there was one question lingering in the air. Your Mizukage is a bloodline line user and two at that. Naruto said, and for a short time, the Mist ninja joined the rest of the audience in shock at how he was correct. Naruto explained, back in Wave Country where I met Zabuza, he explained that Haku-chan can help with my first bloodline, but when I asked about my second, he said that he knew someone back in Water Country who can help. It made sense that Mei is that person if a Kage wishes to see a lowly genin such as myself. Lowly indeed, you are too humble for your own good, Uzumaki-san. You were praised greatly by Zabuza-sensei, who is very hard to impress even among the swordsmen like himself. Akanami said to address on how accurate her own teacher described the one she was assigned to give a message. Thank you, Akanami-san. It is nice to hear that Zabuza is doing nice back home. Thank you for telling us that. Haku-chan really missed him in the past several months. Naruto thanked the Mist team for the message and placed an arm over Haku, was in tears. Now she knew that the man she looked up as a father is doing well. The Mist Kunoichi smiled and approached Haku. It is nice to meet the daughter of sensei who chose to live here in Konoha. He never stopped talked about the happy times he had with you and wished to have a real family like you do too, so he would have children to tell stories about you. Akanami gave a message again from her teacher this time, and Haku tearfully nodded. You might want to cut the tears before your enemies see it. Otherwise, they can use it as their own weapon against them. A voice interrupted the moment, and everyone present looked to see a boy wearing a leaf headband, but he looked like he is a few years older than the members of Team 10. And what is your name? Naruto asked politely but never got his answer when Kiba decided to be rude. What are you to boss an Inuzuka like me around? The boy seemed to ignore Kiba for reasons obliviously and thought more on answering Naruto. My name is Kabuto Yakushi, and you can call me you senior. I have been in these exams before. The boy introduced himself. Then are you taking the exams again? Are they that tough? Naruto asked, and Kabuto looked relieved, like this is the first time someone actually gets why he has to take the exams over and over. Indeed, and I can see this is your first time. I was nervous and clueless myself, so I want to offer some advice. Kabuto answered, but before he could get further, he was beaten by Naruto. As an info on anyone else who are in the exams as well. Is that right? Naruto asked. Kabuto nodded and revealed that his deal was info cards on ninjas and their skill sets that now had everyone interested, especially Kiba. If I could get info on the dope that is so horrible, Hinata will realize the mistake she is making and that I am the better alpha than him. Oh boy. Kiba thought as he went up to Kabuto, and a little too close for the poor boy's sake. Alright, tell me it is so. I want info on the Naruto Uzumaki. Okay sir. Kabuto's sweat dropped at how rude and demanding Kiba was. Here it is. Kabuto took out a card when it disappeared. The boy looked up and about to see Naruto with the card in hand while looking at it himself. This didn't suit well for most, including the Inuzuka heir. Hey! If you are that cowardly, you might as well save face and give that to me so I can prove you are horrible as you will ever be. I don't care you had a wardrobe change. Kiba spoke in an outrage that got everyone present not happy with the dog boy's attitude, especially Hinata's. Only a coward of a ninja would be that loud and to reveal his secrets. We all have secrets, and I for one would like that they remain a secret. Naruto said back calmly and revealed that he somehow had the whole deck of cards that Kabuto shown. Then, he used a low-level katan to burn them. Everyone either looked in shock or smiled that they don't have to worry about their enemies learning about them that easily. Then a cloud of smoke appeared in the hallway, and when it dissolved, a jonin with scars covered his face, and in an all-black outfit appeared in its place. Okay ladies and maggots. Playtime is over. Head into the room or you will be kicked out of the exams. The genin hurried inside to see a room with Chunin already inside acting as proctors, and the room had seats and desks in rows of equal distance from each other. They all took seats that were not taken first, and Naruto realized that he successfully got Hinata to sit in the seat to his right. Haku to his left, and Sakura directly behind him. Then the Jonin with the scars moved to face every one of the genin. Okay maggots. Before we begin, he made a silence that really killing everyone with suspense. Hope you said goodbye to the academy because the Chunin exams have begun. No one said a word because they didn't have anything to say after that introduction made by the scarred and scary Jonin. He just stood where he was and more Jonin arrived. In their hands there was a huge stack of papers. Then he spoke again. Like I said before, the kid gloves are off and it is time to be real ninjas instead of half-baked wannabes. My name is Ibiki Marino and I will be in charge of this exam. That means that you and your little pathetic lives belong to me now. Ibiki smirked that his charm is still working after all this time of dealing with bastards that are twice the age as these newbies. Then he spoke again. Here are the rules of the first exam. As soon as the proctor said those words, the nearby assistants started to place the sheets of paper on each of the desks, and in front of each genin that are sitting at them. These sheets are ninja questions in which you have to solve under an hour. Anyone that is caught cheating will lose 10 points. That goes for any team member too. After being caught cheating 5 times will be asked to leave the room and the exams. Finally, if you failed this exam then you can never take it again. That was like the calm before the storm, and the storm had just arrived with the room full of these, only louder enough to nearly break glass. What? Are you kidding me? You can't do this to us. Then why are there plenty of people who are allowed to retake the exams? Those were the basics while anything else was like gibberish within the room. Ibiki smirked as if he was expecting this form of chaos, and that meant to him that he still has his touch. The next to do is to get them down to the tests. Silence! Ibiki shouted at the top of his voice with a dash of killer intent, Ki, to make it more efficient, and it did. He was feeling proud that it was too soon to retire because he was getting old. I told you, you belong to me now and I alone decide what to do with you. As for everyone else who has taken them before, they obliviously didn't have me as the proctor for the first exam because I am now. Ibiki was having a ball downing their spirits with words and Ki as his only weapons. Now that you have wasted 5 minutes, all of you except for the blonde could been using to fill out the sheets. I was feeling good today enough to give you an hour, so don't push it. Ibiki made his last warning and the rest of the genin noticed that Naruto had already gotten to his exam sheet like there was nothing to worry about. Sakura, Hinata and Haku always found good reasons to trust the blonde's actions, so they got down to their sheets too. Pretty soon, everyone else didn't know how to get out of the mouse that the proctor placed them in, so they went with the flow as in getting to their sheets as well. Meanwhile, the Jonin sensei were outside the room while actually double thinking about who the proctor for the first exam was elected as. Almost like they were regretting it. I never thought that Ibiki would be the one to proctor this exam. I am glad I actually trained my team for real, Kakashi said in a rare serious tone, and he was even twitching to reach for his porn book. The other Jonin nodded in agreement, like they were actually beating themselves for not seeing this from happening, except for one. Why the worry? And who is Ibiki? Kurenai asked in clear confusion, and the other Jonin saw it. They fully understood his confusion. That is right, Kurenai, you only became a full-pledged Jonin not a year ago compared to the rest of us, Kakashi said with sympathy towards the woman with ruby red eyes. Ibiki is known as the mind sadist since he rarely does his torture with physical weapons but words and mind games to get his prisoners to break down and be cooperative. After he was done, no one was ever the same before they met him. As soon as Kakashi was finished, Kurenai was now as worried as the rest of her fellow Jonin. She always thought that Naruto and Haku were good influences for Hinata, one of her students that she saw as a daughter since her biological mother died during childbirth of her second daughter. Despite all that, she was worried about Hinata and how she would be with such a sadist and the art of mind-breaking in charge of the first exam. All she can ever do as a mother figure is to trust her to do well and also trust Kakashi's team to be there and bring her up when she falls down. Back in the exam room, alright you maggots, pencils down, and now is time for the 10th question. Ibiki's stern and serious tone had broken the aroma of suspense and concentration that existed for nearly 1 hour if the genin actually started on time rather than waste time whining and complaining. The proctors were thinking about using Naruto's behavior as an example to support the meaning of this exam that if guessed correctly will determine how many of the genin will pass to the next exam. Here is the deal. You can either try the 10th question in which if you fail then your entire team fails, or that you can leave the room and fail the whole exam. Ibiki explained and silence soon followed. Then a couple of genin raised their hands hoping to spare their lives of what will happen if they fail the last question. Ibiki waited for more to do the same, but for a few minutes the remaining genin just sat there. Okay maggots, I don't know if you are brave or foolhardy, but I am not standing around thinking I lost my touch. With that said, all of them turned their sights to the one genin who was not affected by what is happening, Naruto Uzumaki. The blonde himself was just relaxing and yawning as if to say that the whole thing was so boring. Boring compared to other scary things he had to witness years before he even entered the academy and became a ninja. If one was to discover this, they could only imagine the details of the experiences as a whole. All they know is that whatever a person can endure or lose their way will reveal what kind of a ninja they are. Despite this, Ibiki was not having his title tainted by a greenhorn. He just went to the desk Naruto was sitting at and shoved his face into the blonde's. Alright maggot, you better cut this or I will have to let loose on your mind. Even with the ki behind those words, Naruto's mood didn't budge. What I didn't know is that you are gay, Ibiki-san. Naruto said that with barely any emotion, and it got everyone in the room laughing at the scared man, blushing in embarrassment. Also, I am tired of your mind games. Just admit it, this is the 10th question, isn't it? Now that got everyone's attention. The genin were either shocked that they were fooled or that Naruto was crazy, while Ibiki and the other proctors were surprised that the blonde could figure the whole first exam out. Think about it, we are placed in a tight room with people watching us at every angle and are told to solve problems that no genin is prepared for. It is oblivious that this exam is to see if we are capable of gaining information with getting caught even in a crowded and tight situation. Info is a deadly weapon and sturdy shield to a ninja. It all depends on the circumstances and how the info is being used. The 10th question was to see if we are willing to risk our lives to learn something that could benefit our village and gain an advantage over our enemies. The genin were in awe that Naruto was able to figure that out under the same hour they were given in the exam room, and the proctors felt like their hard work in making the first exam as hard as ever went down the drain. Ibiki just smiled and gathered his bearings. If this maggot could see the meaning behind even the darkest of shadows, then I will feel safer knowing he is part of this village rather than any other. Then the scared man coughed for the genin's attention. I should have done this first instead of provoking the blonde maggot, but for those who stayed have passed. The atmosphere did feel anticlimactic, but they understood that it was their pride that ruined a good ending to a ninja exam. But before it could continue, the window broke when a black ball entered through the same. It exploded in a puff of smoke to reveal a woman in her 20s wearing clothes that barely hid her figure. Behind her was a black sign that spoke, "The sexy and single proctor of the second exam, Anko Mitarashi." "Hello shrimps, my name is Anko Mitarashi, special jonin and proctor of the second exam." "We know." Anko was interrupted by a rather irritated Naruto, making the others around him feel bored too. They were preparing themselves for something much more dangerous, and so far they were disappointed. Ibiki wasn't feeling any better as he was just standing where the sign could cover him, and it did. He just grabbed it out of his way and said, "Anko, you are early again." The said woman had a real face fault, but that only lasted a few seconds when she started to scan the room and started to laugh. 78 genin left? That's 26 teams. Ibiki, you are losing your touch. Anko was having a ball laughing at Ibiki, but he was budging. "We have a special bunch this year, especially the blonde over there. He was able to break my atmosphere and figure out the purpose of the first exam." The scared proctor explained without shame or hesitation. "Anko, however, like I said, you are getting old. Letting a shrimp like that, cute as he is, ruin your hard work. Just watch as I would show how the job is really done." Anko spoke with clear confidence, but Ibiki didn't flinch from the insulting at all. The genin weren't any better as the action was to be seen. "Okay shrimps, head over to training ground 44 and don't be late," Anko said as she disappeared in a puff of smoke, leaving everyone in disbelief at the behavior of such a professional ninja. The genin did as they were told, and the other chunin proctors tagged along, leaving Ibiki to collect the papers, but once he reached for Naruto's he saw that all the questions were answered in perfect detail and readability, but what really stood out was a message that seemed to react to his presence. It said, "Dear Scarface-san, there is this Kabuto Yakushi who is supposed to be our senior willing to give us cards on the genin trying out in this exams, but I looked at them myself. He knows too much. Tell the Hokage about this and also let him know that Kabuto reeks of snakes." That should be a big enough clue to which Kabuto is actually working for. From Naruto Uzumaki, the next Hokage. "P.S. This Anko woman is right. You are getting soft, but I am sure you will get your stuff back someday." Ibiki couldn't believe that such a secret was successfully kept that way from even the jonin, but he remembered on what Naruto said earlier, so he let it all slide. He gathered the other exam sheets and disappeared in his smoke version of the Shunshin. "Welcome shrimps, to training ground 44 aka the Forest of Death," Anko announced as she faced a group of genin with mixed faces and feelings, mostly fear with a touch of indifference and boredom. That last one was what got Anko's attention as she threw a kunai towards the board 1 aka Naruto. Fortunately, Naruto got help from a real teacher on his reflexes, and that caused him to catch the ninja knife. The next second, however, he felt cold metal at his neck and turned to see Anko leaning on him with a look that promised him pain. "You haven't said a word, but I was told that you are not scared yet. I may have to hurry things up, and I wonder how your blood tastes like." Everyone noticed that the proctor with the hot figure was flirting with Naruto, but his girlfriends by his side didn't budge while staring at him like they were worried for his own safety, almost like they are sure he would be alright but could fight their own worry. Then again, there was this grin on the blonde's face. "If you wanted my blood, you could have asked, but you will never get yourself." Naruto replied in a tone that made him look confident that he was untouchable, that got Anko grinning to the point that should only be seen on a madman's face. "I have tasted blood plenty of times before today, and I have been a ninja longer than you greenhorn has. So, that will just be a bunch of empty YRGH. Anko was in the middle of trying to lower Naruto's high chair with words alone when she suddenly convulsed like she was experiencing pain of many types all at once while dropping her second kunai with Naruto's blood on. They all turned to Naruto only to see that he also had a bloody kunai in his hands but wasn't moving an inch, and they noticed a small portion of blood exiting out his mouth like the drool of a hungry animal in front of its favorite food. Then he looked down on Anko was somehow moving okay as usual, You were saying? Enko seemed to hear that and suddenly was free of any pain as she got up easily. Then she noticed that she was making a scene. I was saying that confidence will only get you killed in this place, and it is no fun when you are not scared easily, Enko said in order to gather up her scattered pride from being humiliated and shown up by a wet behind-the-ears greenhorn. She went back to her initial position and took out 2 scrolls in her hands. The one in her left hand had the kanji for earth while the one in her right hand had the kanji for heaven. Seeing that everyone was paying attention and were confused, Enko smirked with pride that she was still kicking in her favorite position. Now, the rules are simple. Your team will receive either of these scrolls. Your job is to find the matching one and head to the tower in the center of the forest. If you try to open them before completing the set or before you make it to the tower, you and your team will be disqualified. Enko enforced those rules with ki, malice and a lust for blood that got the genin on edge. Sakura, Hinata and even Haku were unnerved by the circumstances, but their worries were put aside when Naruto assured them that things will be okay. Now that everything is understood, I hope? Enko spoke in a sweet tone. Too sweet for anyone's good, as they wasted no time in nodding of the affirmative. Then the second exam has begun. Go. So what is the plan, Naruto? Sakura asked the blonde. Ever since the team really felt like one, they selected Naruto as their leader whenever Kakashi wasn't able to do so. It was the experience as such that could allow Naruto to become Hokage. The blonde didn't mind as long as he was still called by his name. If we needed only one scroll, we could just run towards the tower, but that will just defeat the purpose of this exam. Naruto answered while presenting the situation. His team nodded as he stopped for a moment to try and figure out what the exam is for. A dangerous location, a location right in front of our eyes. We have to find a remaining scroll with vicious beasts, and other teams out to kill us. Naruto muttered out what he had learned about the second exam today when his face brightened. I got it. You did? His team felt like they were going to be in the good zone upon hearing their teammates' words. Yes, the first exam was to see if we can collect info even in a crowded environment without being caught, Naruto said, and the 2 girls nodded. Then the second exam is there to see if we can survive in a foreign and dangerous environment with beasts and enemies aiming to kill us while trying to retrieve an object they have in which we don't. Despite being on the technical side, the words made sense, and the entire Team 7 was now on a roll. So now the question was this: how do they find the remaining scroll and make it to the tower without being killed? They sure didn't know that their answer will come sooner than expected and not in the way they had in mind. Futon de Tapa. Naruto heard that and grabbed Sakura and Haku just in time for a huge and powerful gust of fierce wind to appear out of nowhere. They managed to dodge its center point, but the power it was giving off had launched the trio further into the forest, and it was until a tree stopped Naruto in his tracks while he managed to soften the blow by using his body as a cushion for his teammates. I didn't separate any of you, but it was still a great blast to knock the wind out of your lungs. That creepy voice snuck up behind them, which caused Team 7 to jump away from the voice and turn towards it within the same minute. It was one of the creepy genin that seemed to have a tongue like a snake's and always had a hat on her head blocking out her face. You are right. That was a wind of that power, Naruto said, much to the confusion of his audience when he saw that smirk. Too powerful and way too complex for a genin whose first time is today. Isn't that right, Hibi-Sanin, Orochimaru? His team was shocked by that bold question, and the woman started laughing while reaching for her face, which turned out to be a disguise revealing a rather pale man with the features of a snake. The rest of the clothes were discarded to reveal a battle outfit of smooth shirts and pants with a huge rope tied in a knot facing away from the backside. You are quite clever, not even the Jonin could do it. What gave me away? Orochimaru spoke in a tone that gave the girls the chills, but Naruto calmed them down and kept his stand. The fact that everyone overlooked your tongue behaving like that of snakes. Speaking of which, you stink of it as well as chemicals and blood, Naruto said in a matter-of-fact tone that made light of the situation. Orochimaru just laughed. You can smell that off me? You are so weird. You are the one to talk. Everyone thought as they couldn't believe the character of such a powerful traitor. Anyway, I am wondering where Sasuke-kun is. Could you be such good kids and tell me that so I will let you live? Orochimaru spoke, in which his answer was Naruto brawling. Sasuke-kun? You really are a gay fanatic with boys. Ha ha ha. Naruto laughed at how the snake sage embarrassed himself, and speaking of which, Orochimaru was fuming at the humiliation. Shut up. You are only making me more willing to kill you for wasting my time. Orochimaru tried to get Naruto to quit the laughing, but the blonde didn't stop. Waste your tea time? Ahem, we didn't tell you to come to us in the first place, and besides, even we did tell you where your next lover is. You will just come back and kill us anyway. Naruto only stopped the laughing since it was making it hard to talk right. Orochimaru may be gay, but he is not stupid enough to be confused on the blonde's answer. He was basically told that what he really wanted from Sasuke was still going to be out of his grasp. If he only wasn't wasting his time in anger and embarrassment, that he would notice that his legs were feeling cold and not moving, like they were in ice. When he finally looked down, his legs indeed frozen. Hayatan, hi Shintaya Shiba. Orochimaru heard the voice of the blonde who just made a fool out of him just a couple of moments ago. I am an inventor myself, don't you know? Damn it. Now I am really going to kill you. Orochimaru lost all his patience, but it seemed to slow him down enough for Naruto to use his next technique. Fuin Jutsu, Fuin Hashimen. 1 Kaimon. Naruto placed his palm directly on Orochimaru's head with a burst of chakra. The blonde then jumped back in time for the snake-like traitor to shed his skin like the animal he does imitate the best. Yet, Orochimaru fell to one knee with a shocked look on his face. Hey, that should be our expression, seriously, who loves snakes so much to try and become one? Naruto complained, which seemed inappropriate for this, but no one complained back. What is going on? I know the Dadapi no Jutsu, too, takes a lot of chakra, but it seemed to do more ever since that blonde brat hit me with that Fuin Jutsu. Orochimaru tried to get his bearings back together while wondering what is happening to his body. However, his thoughts were interrupted. Arg! Orochimaru experienced a pain unlike anything he ever did in all his years as a ninja. It felt like his skin was on fire, and yet trapped in ice at the same time. What is this? Orochimaru was in pure shock when he saw that there was slash marks on his body. Some were leading to his left eye that threatened to burn that part of face away, while the others were made of ice and circled around his torso, including where his spinal cord was located. All in all, his wounds left him half blind and also half flexible, with the ice keeping his central body part from twisting or stretching. Still, the worst has yet to come when Orochimaru realized that he was feeling like he lost a bigger portion of his chakra reserves than the last time Naruto attacked him. I figured that scum like you will hear about had happened to me, and lucky for me, I got my teacher to really act like one. Orochimaru was still in shock that he couldn't get on his feet. Only looked back to see Naruto staring him down with eyes promising to do much worse to him. The traitor then noticed that the blonde was carrying. It was 2 kunai for each of Naruto's hands, but that wasn't what got the sage's attention. It was one in Naruto's left hand was covered in ice that continued to give off frost, and doesn't seem to melting at all, while the one in Naruto's right hand was boiling water in the shape of a dagger like the one of ice. Now Orochi team, don't think of making me a threat. Naruto spoke again. I did this because we both have good reasons not to waste energy and time. You can't afford to grab the attention of the ANBU and the Hokage, while I can't afford to waste time me and my team can use to prepare for the rest of the Chunin exam. Go if you want, but not even your boy toy Kabuto can heal your humiliation of today. Remember that. Naruto finished his little speech and turned away, while Orochimaru finally escaped with the substitution of a mud clone. For being in silence and awe, Sakura and Haku finally found their voices when they both hugged Naruto in a tight embrace. Naruto-kun, that was incredible. You really showed that stupid snake who is boss. The blonde couldn't help but blush under the direct contract and the praise of his teammates. Despite being in a relationship with Sakura and Hinata, Naruto still isn't used to having an excited girl press herself in his embrace. Thanks guys, he is out of our hair for now, but he will ever give up on what he wants until he gets it. We were glad that he was having a stupidly moment in pursing us instead. Sasuke. He has his wounds and scars to think about now rather than the Uchiha jerk, Naruto said, and his teammates nodded, not wanting to leave their strong and cool teammate. The blonde didn't complain, as he knew not to deny a fair lady of what she wants so harshly. Now let's get out of this forest before anything else happens. The girls nodded, finally getting their head out of Naruto's chest, but making sure he was not too far from them for their own sake. Team 7 then left behind the site of their encounter with Orochimaru altogether. Ow! Hiss! Orochimaru was not having his day even with his trusted partner Kabuto healing him. In reality, the glass-wearing medic was actually making sure that the scars remain there. Please hold still, Orochimaru-sama. I need to make sure you wouldn't die of an illness rather than the wounds who invited them in. Kabuto may have sounded loyal, but lately, his master had been noticing that he was making such bad jokes that only stabbed him where it hurts the most. I must say, you might need to rethink about underestimating this year's bunch of genin, for you to return in such a mess that I never have seen in before. Be silent, Kabuto. I will never live this low. That blonde may have very prized bloodlines, but since he is the container for the QB, I can never take over him. Kabuto nodded at the truth behind that statement. I'd better make sure that he doesn't get in the way of my plans any longer. He is going to regret crossing paths with me, Orochimaru yelled at the top of his voice, while Kabuto just get his mouth shut and continued on to healing him. Sure, you cowardly snake, but you are just living on borrowed time, and the time bank is sure to run out, never to refill at all. Kabuto thought sinisterly, maybe I should think about that very tempting offer he made as well. Ow! Hiss! Orochimaru was not having his day even with his trusted partner Kabuto healing him. In reality, the glass-wearing medic was actually making sure that the scars remain there. Please hold still, Orochimaru-sama. I need to make sure you wouldn't die of an illness rather than the wounds who invited them in. Kabuto may have sounded loyal, but lately, his master had been noticing that he was making such bad jokes that only stabbed him where it hurts the most. I must say, you might need to rethink about underestimating this year's bunch of genin, for you to return in such a mess that I never have seen in before. Be silent, Kabuto. I will never live this low. That blonde may have very prized bloodlines, but since he is the container for the QB, I can never take over him. Kabuto nodded at the truth behind that statement. I'd better make sure that he doesn't get in the way of my plans any longer. He is going to regret crossing paths with me, Orochimaru yelled at the top of his voice while Kabuto just get his mouth shut and continued on to healing him. Sure, you cowardly snake, but you are just living on borrowed time and the time bank is sure to run out, never to refill at all. Kabuto thought sinisterly, maybe I should think about that very tempting offer he made as well. In another part of the Forest of Death. What's wrong, Gaara? You have been spacing out more than lately. In another part of the forest, the team from Suna was going at their own pace after running into a team from AIM which they killed without even a scratch on them. But the youngest seemed to be not thinking about finding the remaining scroll or getting to the tower as fast as possible but something else. His teammates noticed it, and they seemed to be afraid of that, like they think Gaara was thinking of killing to get them from slowing him down. But that was not it. I am perfectly fine and I will be better if I didn't get such concern from trash like you. Gaara said harshly and with no other emotion in that voice which sounded dead. Mother was just telling me to look for the blonde who got us to this part of the exam. She said that she sensed that he had shown an example of his power, and that it means he is more of a threat to my safety. Gaara's teammates felt even more frightened because they heard about his mother before, and if there is something that makes her want Gaara to eliminate, then this blonde could really dangerous. It was the instinct they developed since they were made a team back in their home village. If that is the case, a voice that they recognized from before had snuck up behind them. They turned around to see Konoha's Team 7 in front of them. Let's hear it. Team Suna was silent, but that was actually them with troubling thoughts in mind. What is wrong with them? Don't they know that Gaara can kill them? Still, they looked confident and cool, yet not even a bit arrogant like the rest. How is that Gaara couldn't sense them? It was like they toyed with his powers just to make an impression like before. What is with that aura? It is so bad that mine is not even affecting it, and instead it is causing Mother to be afraid. If only I could assure myself that I could taste his blood, then no one will ever ignore me again. Yet, in all this thinking, the moment was interrupted when Naruto decided it was still his turn in speaking. If you are done with the hard thinking, then we will be on our way. True to that, Team 7 turned around with a thought. Just the whisper, thanks for finding the other scroll for us. Despite that, Team Gaara heard that and realized that one of their scrolls is missing. Only the one they were given was left, an earth scroll. There was then a moment of killer silence before they finally got their voices back. He stole our scroll. Now, while his teammates were panicking and cursing, Gaara wasn't concerned about the fact that Naruto was able to pickpocket them, but because he stood out from the rest of shinobi his age as the only one that wasn't even afraid of him. Instead got him afraid, and Gaara hadn't felt afraid since his childhood back in Suna with all the assassins trying to split his neck for petty reasons. This Naruto, he is doing it all wrong, and yet it only got him to be stronger than me. I need to find out why so I can prove that I exist. Gaara muttered to himself before threatening his teammates into following him and find another heaven scroll to deliver to the tower. How are you doing all this, Naruto-kun? First Orochimaru and then this Gaara fellow, what is it that they don't want to fight you? Sakura asked with good meaning, and Haku nodded. Naruto sighed as he knew that it was to come at any time. The truth is that I knew what will happen if word gets around that the dobe of the class at the Ninja Academy and the demon brat of Konoha somehow came into possession of a pair of bloodlines. People will think that the demon was actually giving me power that rightfully belonged to Uchiha-sama, Naruto stated, and his teammates nodded. As a result, I have been busy thinking of ways to get out of trouble with people like that Orochi team or Gaara, since you guys will be forced to be in the hot water I keep falling in. Then Sakura said and distanced off when Naruto nodded. I managed to get Orochimaru to flee because I took him by surprise and landed hits on him that he had no way of preparing for. No doubt a twisted genius like him will just recover and be back while knowing what I can do with my new power. Naruto explained that made perfect sense to his team as they both nodded in approval. As for Gaara, it seemed oblivious to me that he has been listening to a voice in his mind that he thinks it belongs to his mother. Under all that sand and emotionless face, he is still a scared little boy who could do nothing but try to keep his mother happy by doing all those killing. I know because his sand reeked with blood. That is why I want to help him, to get him to leave that shell and be with his real family rather than seek comfort from just a voice. That sure left a mark in the girls' minds that their teammate was able to look into a person's soul and see what they really are, to help them leave their shell and show the world their true face. If this keeps up, Naruto may just succeed with Gaara if the blonde will take his time and use his words right. But for now, the important part was getting to the tower in the forest, since they have both needed scrolls in hand. Without most trouble, Team 7 finally did arrive there and entered through the doorway. Inside was a large space with a sign that had writing on it. It said, "If you lack in earth, then run through the fields and seek opportunities. If you lack in heaven, then expand your horizon. If you lack in both, then you are doomed to fail. If you lack in none, then there is nothing you can't do." Hiruzen Sarutobi, 3rd Hokage of Konohagakure. As soon as those words were read, there was a silence once more. This time to try and make sense of this riddle that seemed to be connected to the earth and heaven scrolls the genin had to collect before coming here, or they would be disqualified from the exams entirely. Then Naruto's eyes widen and his face shine like the sun. I got it. When he does that, that meant for his team to listen to what he had to say. We got to open our scrolls at the same time for this to work. Haku and Sakura took out the earth and heaven scrolls respectively to see that they had the kanji for human in them. Then the symbols started to smoke and glow, causing the girls to drop them on the ground. The scrolls moved into an X shape which caused a smoke cloud to appear. When it lifted, there was person there, and not just any person, Iruka-sensei. Hey guys, I guess the rumors of a new member of the Konoha Shinobi Corps were true. The academy teacher that was there when the generation that Naruto was part of graduated to become full-pledged genin. My name is Iruka Yumino, a teacher at the Ninja Academy of Konohagakure. What is your name? Iruka asked Haku, who was relieved that he was friendly and polite. My name is Haku, and yes, I am a latest member of your ninjas. You can thank Naruto for it. Haku introduced herself and Iruka smiled at it. Wow guys, now that I think of it, you are the first team to arrive, so you have 5 days until the third exam starts. Use that time to rest and practice. Until then, see you later. Iruka explained before he disappeared in a puff of smoke once more. But before anyone could do anything, they heard a shout of joy and desperation. Naruto Keiyuen. When Team 7 turned around, the blonde was knocked down by a blur with the shade of lavender and moon blue. On a closer look, it was confirmed to be Hinata holding on Naruto like he was a lifeline. Once the blonde got back on his feet, he embraced Hinata back. I miss you too, Hinata, but you seem scared. Why is that? Naruto asked, but he was only getting an answer that will make him regret ever asking. You can't run away from me, Hinata-chan. That voice made Naruto's blood boil because it belonged to Kiba, who called himself a ladies' man, but in reality he was only a boy with a swollen head filled with pride and lust for his own teammate. You know I am a better choice for a boyfriend than the. Sure enough, Kiba Inuzuka of Team 8 then come from the same direction that Hinata did towards Naruto in the first place. He just took one look at his teammate in the comfort of her boyfriend and put on an angry face. Dobe! Stay away from her, arg! The dog boy was interrupted from his yelling with a punch to the face that landed him into a wall behind him. Hinata saw that Naruto had made a clone to hold her while he, the real one, was free and able to do what he wanted ever since he started dating Hinata. That should be my line. Naruto yelled in a tone that surprised everyone present because he used to be so calm. I tolerated you being around Hinata-chan because you are her teammate, but every time I ask how your team is, she will always answer that you are making her feel uncomfortable and hurt her for just saying no. I have to heal her up, and just before today, she had claw marks around her neck. This time, the rest of Team 7 was getting as angry as Naruto is. You even had the nerve to say that you will battle me just to have Hinata-chan for all yourself, and I see that you are trying to steal her behind my back anyway. I thought you dog lovers had more pride and honor to better than that. Before Kiba could try to argue or Naruto to rant more, the dog boy was slapped hard on the cheek and then started to behave like he was tied up while on fire, judging by his screams. Everyone got a good look of the person who did this, and to Hinata's relief and joy, it was Kurenai Yuhi, the leader and Jonin teacher of Team 8. Thank you, Naruto-kun. I have heard enough, and I will make sure that the Inuzuka clan will also hear about this disgrace for a future head. Take Hinata-chan with your team upstairs while I take care of this horn dog. No one even spoke while watching a furious woman take charge and depart without other trouble. Let's not make her matter and do what she said. Okay, Shino? Naruto said, and when he addressed the remaining member of Team 8, the others finally noticed that during the whole incident, he never revealed himself until he did from where his teammates appeared from. Yes, Naruto-san, I will be in my own room. As soon he arrived, Shino departed for the side of the tower with the quarters for genin who came under the 5-day time limit. Naruto just gently took Hinata from his clone into his arms and towards their room with the rest of Team 7 behind him. Haku said she will check out the rest of the tower, so she left her teammate with his mates to their time alone together. Finally, in their own private room, Naruto and his girls, Sakura and Hinata, all sat on the bed with the latter two on each of his sides. While I don't approve you antagonizing your own comrade, but I do agree he was meddling outside his own business, Sakura said with a smile on her face while she snuggled in her boyfriend's warmth. Yeah, I feel a lot better while I am around you rather than Kiba. Hinata agreed while enjoying the same sensation as her fellow lover is. She just felt like not letting go, especially Naruto's chest. Thank you for correcting him. I think that sensei can take care of this problem. Naruto smiled that he managed to brighten Hinata's day again after how she had to endure her own teammates' attempts to make her forget about her boyfriend and stay by his side instead. It really ticked him off that his own comrade was willing to break a fair girl's heart just for his own, but he put that all aside since otherwise, it will ruin his whole evening. It was no problem. I knew that the dog breath will snap someday, but let's flush that bad memory down the drain with something I should have done a while ago. Despite how weird it sounded, Naruto's girlfriends listened in what the blonde had meant by his words. Their answer was Naruto taking out 2 sheets of paper with markings similar to sealing scrolls and explosive notes, but in entirely different patterns. Then they noticed that Naruto was looking nervous and reluctant on what he is planning to do with them, like he was thinking his next action was going to freak them out. Girls, I have something to ask and I am going to regret it. Naruto really sounded like his statue from before was crumbling, but it was instantly repaired when Hinata and Sakura kissed him on the left and right cheek respectively. Don't worry, Naruto-kun. Hinata said, you can ask us anything, we are your girlfriends. Naruto nodded, feeling a little better. Thank you, girls. I will need you to remove your underwear. Naruto finally got it out of his mouth and braced for a bashing from both of them, but instead, he heard giggling from both of them. Oh, you want to make love with us already? You must really love us that much. Sakura said in a seductive tone while Hinata licked his lips hungering for what her fellow girlfriend is suggesting. Yeah, I do, but if I can do this first, then we can get started. Naruto said in a shaky so he wouldn't let his girls' spirits down. They nodded and looked at the objects in his hands. Those look like seals, but I thought they were only 2 ways to use them. Hinata spoke in a mildly curious tone and Sakura nodded. That is the thing. Gigi gave me a book on something called Fuinjutsu, and ever since, making these seals was like I was born for them. So I made these seals hoping to revolutionize the ways of kunoichi with you girls as the first 2 users. Naruto explained, and the said girls allowed him to go on. They are to be implanted on the area above a woman's vagina to be powered by a kunoichi's chakra. These are basically anti-rape seals. As soon as those words left the blonde's mouth, Hinata and Sakura were in awe at their boyfriend's thoughtfulness when it came to their sake. Rape is a huge deal in the world of kunoichi since it is a huge crime against humility, and caused a lot of victims to either retire early or commit suicide from all the shame. Their purpose is divided into 2 functions in which will activate when the user is about to be raped. The first one is a defense mechanism that surrounds a woman's vagina with a coating of chakra to prevent any semen from tainting it, while the second one is an offense feature that destroys the rapist's penis, rendering him sterile for the rest of his life. Now, the whole thing may have been a little on the technical side, but it made 2 girls' day that they have the chance to be protected from the effects of direct rape, and it is all thanks to their inventive and thoughtful boyfriend. They couldn't take in their joy and excitement anymore, and they kissed Naruto in a searing kiss that almost took his breath away. Then they stood up from the bed and each took off their underwear to leave their vagina bare for Naruto to witness. He was in awe for a short moment before collecting his bearings and got to the job. He placed the paper with the anti-rape seal on the area he described, which made the girls feel a powerful sensation since it was one of their sensitive features. It tickled them when the seal left the paper and onto their bodies in order to secure the area as they were programmed to. Soon, the seal paper was just paper, so Naruto was able to remove them without interrupting the seal taking place. The girls felt the seals feeding on their chakra, but they were able to balance the extra output after only a moment. They're all done, Naruto announced as he put the seals away, but when he turned around, he was in for a bigger show. His girls forgetting about their underwear and instead focused on removing the rest of their clothes. Soon they were bare naked with their private parts visible to Naruto. Lemon begins. Naruto, there is no such thing as all done until we drop. So be prepared, because it was hard holding in all that desire for your semen after all these weeks. Hinata said in a sexy tone before she and Sakura sat on each side of their boyfriend and kissed him passionately. It did the trick that Naruto couldn't help himself anymore. He nervously shifted each of his hands towards the flesh mounds that his girls are showing off without shame. He didn't want to touch where it hurts, but to his eyes they like a treasure just begging to be touched and kept for himself. The girls got a little impatient and grabbed the shaking hands and directly placed them on their chest, moaning at the touch. You like that, girls? Naruto asked, and while they were in bliss, the blonde's girlfriends nodded at his words. Fortunately for their stake, their boyfriend was just getting bolder by the minute until he glopped there, sending a surge of pleasure through every fiber of their bodies. Yet that was numb compared to when Naruto got a little more bold and childish, the least, as he started sucking there like a newborn infant. It caused the girls to giggle at the cute sight and from the pleasure that came with it. You big baby, getting out ready for children? Sakura teased, which made Naruto god red and stop his fondling and sucking with the thought that he was doing something wrong. Not that we hate it, but we better save that stuff for the future, so let's focus on the present instead. On that note, the girls got up from the bed to show their naked pussy that were dripping from the pleasure sending previously. They were doing this to hopefully fill their boyfriend with confidence rather than caution, since the latter makes sex boring and unsatisfying. Sure enough, Naruto just couldn't stop himself from gluing his eyes on them or stopping his member from getting hard. He then went to Hinata's pussy and started licking it while using his right hand to finger Sakura's. The two moaned in bliss as the pleasure now surged through their bodies. They soon got hungry for more as Hinata used her hands to press Naruto's face directly in her vagina in order to extend his tongue directly inside, while Sakura grabbed her boyfriend's hand and shoved it right in her pussy hole. Both actions doubled the pleasure all the way till they both came all over Naruto's face and hand. So this is part of you girls? Naruto said in a husky tone that got the girls all red from the embarrassment that they didn't last long. They just waited patiently while watching their boyfriend lick his hand and face clean of their pussy juice. Delicious. I could get used to this. With that said, the girls dropped on their knees in front of Naruto's member that was threatening to burst out of his tight pants. They had the look that said they were waiting for permission to go on. Naruto just unzipped his pants and took off his shorts to reveal something the girls never expected. A cock as long as a dog's tail and as wide water bottle, which meant it was 10 in length and 5 in width. The girls' minds basically melted by how their eyes were longing for such a huge cock and their mouths were drooling at the size alone. They finally got their bearings back and clutched the cock, gaining a moan from Naruto since it felt good on that sensible part of his body. It was so big, they had to use all of their hands just to cover it, and that fact just made them even more excited. Then they began to lick at it while taking turns at suck the length all the way into their wet and warm mouths that felt that way to the lucky blonde. This paradise went on until Naruto couldn't hold back anymore and released his load that completely covered his unprepared girlfriends, making them giggle. They were in awe that their boyfriend can create so much cum and that it tastes good. Okay girls, I think it is time to get to the good stuff. Naruto suggested, in which his response and answer were swearing kisses onto his mouth by his overjoyed girlfriends. He didn't mind, he will go through this 1,000 times if he needed to get used to. Now, I didn't get to taste your pussy, Sakura. The pink-haired girl nodded in approval, so Naruto went on. I think you will be the first to lose your virginity tonight. Think of it, it will be even better for both of you once we are done. Naruto finished, and with hundreds of pictures racing through the girls' heads, they nodded in agreement. Naruto fell on the bed he was still sitting on while Sakura moved to sit on his face while Hinata positioned herself to fit onto the huge cock that was still hard even after all that load had shot out. It all started in an instant. Naruto felt Hinata's warm and tight pussy hug his cock while his nose was bombarded by the sweet and heavy smell of Sakura's pussy on top of his nose. Hinata herself felt the biggest pleasure with a long and thicker cock rubbing against her sensitive walls all the while to her hidden G-spot, and Sakura was wondering that if the feeling that floods her body was what her fellow girlfriend was feeling from before. The room was filled to the brim with moans and sounds of flapping that threatened to escape the walls and door, but lucky for them, there are people who are passionate about keeping the peeping toms and perverts from doing their dirty work. This went on for hours, with the trio switching positions only to do them with much more strength than before, which caused their now naked bodies to be drenched in sweat and semen. They never noticed because they were only focusing on making today the best sex time ever, and that means that they keep at it until their bodies are too tried and sore to go on. It was a good thing that all of them got good endurance from their ninja training, especially Hinata and Sakura. Theirs were like that of women legend, and they all belonged to Naruto, and Naruto only. Lemon ends. Finally, they were forced to take 5 and collapse on the bed in each other. They were also taking in how much they stick of sweat and pussy juice. They were glad that today was a safe day for both of them from unintentional pregnancy. Well, phew, that was fun and extreme for our first time. You girls panned are no pushovers. The two girls giggled in joy and modesty at their boyfriend's words of praise. We know that, Naruto-kun. Hinata seemed to forget to be shy and timid as she only talked broken because she was wiped out instead. But we are glad it was done by you. Sakura finished up, and Naruto used what left energy to move his aching limbs and bring both of them towards his chest, which smelled rather good to the girls lost in bliss. Thanks, girls. Let's just take a nap. We can take a shower and clean our bed sheets later, Naruto suggested, and the two girls nodded and went out like lights. Much later, fully rested, they indeed took a shower together, focusing more on cleaning themselves, and afterwards, they changed bed sheets since theirs were still covered in sweat and semen wasted away and ruined along with the fabric used to cover the bed. Naruto still had to help his girls get used to walking again. Normally this will be a problem, but when it came to sex, it is a sign that it was done properly, and even better than that. They did this until it was getting late, and that meant it was time to hit the hay. They spent the whole day together and just didn't want to sleep in separate beds. It will feel way too weird. So they never bothered to explore the possibility and slept in the same bed like newborn kittens with their mother. They soon woke up the next day perfectly snug in each other's arms, but they knew that staying in bed is just going to make them dull around the edges, so they got out of bed and spent the day having meals, training, and hanging out together. It seemed that only 1 or 2 teams will arrive after each day had passed, but the mother load really came on the 5th one, the day that the final exam was to begin. There sure are a lot of them, Naruto-kun, Hinata said while standing in the crowd of genin next to her boyfriend. This is because she wants to stay away from Kiba after what he tried to do to her behind Naruto's back. He is still in the exams because if he was to be kicked out of the exams, then the rest of his team has to go too. Yes, what the 3rd exam is going to be may take all day with this crowd. Naruto agreed with Hinata, who is enjoying the fact that she is in his arms rather than that horn dog Kiba. All this was over when the Hokage appeared with Jonin next to him. May I have your attention? The genin just stared at him without looking elsewhere. Good. I have an announcement. Before the 3rd exam, we will have our preliminaries matches. End of chapter 8. The after effect was instant, and not even the god of shinobi could prepare his ears for this. Preliminaries. Are you kidding? We just got of that forest, and we are having the preliminaries already. Hiruzen sighed as this was to be expected by the genin who did just arrived at the tower on that day, but he needed to tell that for a good reason. I am sure some of you are unhappy, but there are too many teams here to have the 3rd exam today. It is true, with teams 7, 8, 9 and 10 from Konoha, Team Gaara from Suna, the Kiri team ***, and Team Dosu and Kabuto from Oto. That is 7 teams, which meant 24 genin to compete, and it will take all day to have the matches all the way to the top. And since we have an odd number of participants as well, we need someone to go in order for this to work, Hiruzen said, and as soon as he did, a hand raised from the crowd. Hey! I will like to forfeit. I am low on chakra, so I can't fight in the matches. I will try again next year. The hand belonged to Kabuto, who was attempting to look exhausted and wounded, but nothing could fool Naruto's eyes as the blonde watched him walk out of the arena. Sure enough, the look on Kabuto's face wasn't of one that disappointed that he had to drop out so early, but one of a planner happy that his scheme was sailing smooth and like clockwork. Fine, but we'll have to leave someone out now that we have an odd number of genin. We will decide that in time, Anko said as Kabuto disappeared from sight. ***. Now that is done, we will. Hiruzen spoke once again until he was interrupted by rather strong coughing from his side, and everyone else looked to see a jonin with a sickly and pale face. That guy ought to see a doctor. Everyone, including the genin, all thought, Hokage-sama, cough, allow me to take over. Cough, I will explain, cough, everything better. The sick man said, even though he was still coughing like he had a really bad fever. The Hokage just sighed and face-palmed himself. Fine then, Hate, just promise me to see a doctor after you are done. Hiruzen said, and the genin just couldn't help but wonder if it was coincidence, or he was reading their minds of their opinions. The sickly man, now named Hate, kept coughing while saying, you know that cough, cough, I can't help it, the pollen of the cough air makes my throat itch. It sounded more like an excuse or just a plain example of stubbornness, but no one was amused in the end. Anyway, wait, cough, we need to get started, cough. Then the genin heard gears turning and grinding against one another. The sound seemed to come from the back wall that the Hokage is facing. When they turned their sight, there was an electric board appearing from the ceiling, a most curious and confounding sight. This board, cough, Hate spoke again, and this stole the genin's attention from the board. Will randomly select names, cough, of those who are fighting in the cough matches. Now please, cough, go to the second floor and await the first cough match. Despite being sick, it was still the voice of a man in control, so the genin did as ordered. Once they were all on the second floor and facing the board, the slots began to move in a blur-like motion that everyone was having difficulty to follow, or even catch up on. It finally stopped rolling to reveal these two names, Haku versus Yoroi. In the stands, a man from Kabuto's team who was wearing sunglasses and a mask covering his face looked to see his name selected. His other teammate who wore similar clothing whispered into his ear, and Yoroi nodded in response. Elsewhere, are you ready, Haku? If you win this, then you can move on to the finals and you will have one more step towards to becoming a full-pledged Konoha shinobi and a chunin to boot. Naruto asked his teammate with enthusiasm that made her giggle and sigh at the same time. That is true, Naruto-kun, but I know next to nothing about my opponent, so I have no chance of being prepared for anything that comes out of his sleeves. Haku voiced her concerns, but Naruto's smirk never left his face. Yeah, and that applies to him too, so what is the difference? Naruto said in a cheerful tone that left no argument in anyone. Haku just nodded and went downstairs to the arena where her mysterious adversary also approaches. I am getting good at this stuff. Hate was already there and was in the location of the referee. Are both fighters ready? They both nodded, and Hate threw his right arm in a chopping motion, the traditional way of starting matches. Then Hajime. Hate soon used the Shunshin no Jutsu to arrive at a safer place and out of their way. Wanting to be the one to learn about one's opponent, Haku took some shuriken out of her bag and threw them at Yoroi, who quickly deflected them with kunai. Before he could move, Haku threw herself at him with kick in motion. It landed a hit, but somehow, Haku felt tired already and Yoroi seemed unharmed from the launch. He just got onto his feet again and posed into a fighting posture once more. What is with that guy? I have shattered trees and boulders with a kick like that alone, and he wasn't even scratched, and I never feel like this normally. Haku thought about what happened and tried to figure the cause. Her time was interrupted when Yoroi ran towards her and tried to land a right fist at her face. Haku managed to catch the fist but suddenly felt like something was sucking her dry of strength starting in her legs. It then shined in her mind. You can absorb chakra, can you? Haku managed to utter while under the draining effects surrounding her body. Yoroi chuckled from beneath his mask, quite observant, and such a skill that keeps ninjas alive. I can indeed drain chakra from my victims and add it to my own. This makes physical combat useless against me. Yoroi said that last sentence with arrogance that left when he made a yow and jumped away from Haku. He looked down to see what is wrong with his hand and saw that it was frozen. You bitch. What did you do? Haku was calm despite the insults. It seemed to me that you had a trick up your sleeve, or more like a trump card. So I used one of my own tricks. I am good at making my chakra, the one you were trying to steal, as cold as ice. Now your ability is useless. Haku felt glad that she had the prankster king in Konoha to teach her how to make half-truths rather than lies that everyone can believe while not true at the same time. Back in the stands, everyone had an O expression on their faces while Team 7 and Hinata just smiled at Haku and later turned it to Naruto. I bet you are proud of Haku. Sakura said, and Naruto just nodded. Yeah. I told her that half-truths will work better than any lie, and now she can see for herself. Naruto answered, now relieved that his teammate was able to cover up her bloodline as a special trait of her chakra instead. Now on the battlefield, Yoroi was also buying that half-truth as well as everyone else, so he dashed the strategy of stealing her chakra. That didn't last long, as Haku proved to be better at taijutsu than her advisory, and completely overwhelmed him in strength and flexibility. The match had finally ended when Haku pressed a pressure point that caused Yoroi to black out. Hate soon emerged to check Yoroi's vitals and cleared his throat, and the winner of this match is Haku. Despite being in the village only for a couple of weeks, the crowds cheered for the latest member of Team 7 after what they heard about Sasuke during the Wave mission. Now that the first match is over, it is for the second one. Please turn your attention to the board. Hate then asked while Haku left to join her team. Once she arrived, she was ambushed by hugs, by 3 hugs at the same time to be precise. That was amazing, Haku-chan. You really showed him. The match was nicely fought indeed. Such voices and compliments from the mouths of her team soon filled the air around Haku's ears, which seemed to be overwhelming, but for someone who had to run and hide to survive, it was bliss and an improvement for something. Then another sound was heard, but wasn't anything a human voice can make. It was the clicking of a slot stopping. When they turned to the source, the board across the arena, they saw two separate names in big letters. Shino Aburame versus Saku. Naruto did a thinking pose until his eyes opened brightly. Hey Hina-chan, he turned to one of his girlfriends who returned the attention. Isn't Shino on your team? Naruto asked. Yes, he is. Hinata answered, and Naruto decided to ask another important question. Isn't he a member of the Aburame clan that is known for their use of insects to track, trap, and weaken foes? Naruto queried, and Hinata nodded, making him smirk. Then that means that he will have a field day with such a brash and cocky opponent like that Saku jerk from Otogakure. And just like what Naruto said, further into the stands, the Otogakure team with the mummy leader saw what the board had said. This will be so easy. All I have to do is kill someone who loves bugs and hides in cloaks. That is what the member named Zaku said, while his teammates sighed. Shut up, Zaku. This is no time and place to underestimate your opponents. The mummy man shouted rather comfortably with bandages covering his mouth. Whatever, Dosu, I will just blow him to bits and move on to the Rio finals. Zaku said indifferently. That really got under his teammates' skin. They didn't say anything as he went down to face his opponent. Shino was already there on the other side of the battle arena, completely indifferent and stoic like the rest of his clan. Hate soon revealed himself at the referee's position, looking at both fighters facing each other. Are both competitors ready? He asked. Yeah, whatever. I have no time to waste with this bug freak. Zaku said, as brash as ever. Shino started to emit a buzzing sound that gradually grew louder. Zaku didn't pay any attention to it, but back in the stands, Shino's team did, and did it big time. That little bastard doesn't know that even Aburame members get angry, and you will wish that you weren't the reason he is. Kiba chuckled as he remembered how his teammate displayed his emotions despite what others say about his clan. Back at the arena, everyone was now able to hear the buzzing, and it sounded like an angry swarm of bees coming from somewhere. It was just getting them nervous. Hate was sweating because he was a jonin, and he saw how an Aburame does battle. It is scary and creepy enough to make you glad that they are on your side. Anyway, Hajime. As soon as he heard those words, Zaku ran for the frontal assault. Yet, Shino remained calm and quiet, and even blocked Zaku's arm, causing him to jump backward to gain more space. There, he raised his right arm to show a tube appearing out of the palm and said Zankaha. The air in front of Zaku began to act like it was controlled into being a damaging wind current that landed a direct hit on Shino. Haha, I told them that I will blow him to pieces. Zaku was panting from using a lot of chakra in that attack, thinking it finished off Shino, but the smoke cleared to reveal his opponent still standing with barely a scratch. The only thing that seems out of place was that Shino's left cheek was open but no blood was oozing out but bugs. Then Zaku heard something buzzing rather closely and also from behind him. He turned to see the area that once faced his back indeed covered in insects. Shino just allowed one of them to crawl to his finger. Do you like my little friends? They are called Kikechu and they love to feed on chakra no matter the difference. Once they finish then you are too, so I will give you options. Zaku didn't speak a word as he kept switching stares on the bug horde behind him or Shino himself. You can either surrender to avoid the effects of them, or you can keep fighting and the Kikechu will drain you dry. Don't count me out so soon. I can still win this. Zaku shouted in protest and revealed that his other palm also had tubes sticking out as the Otogakure ninja pointed his two palms at the insects and Shino. Zanka dash! His attack was interrupted when his arms exploded prematurely, causing them to fall off and become useless. What? WY. Overcome with pain and denial, Zaku fell to the ground. There he got a better look of his arms to see insects leaving the tubes. Then? You are correct. Shino said in his stoic tone once more. When you thought that only one of your arm will be needed and used it to attack me, I secretly sent some Kikechu into the tubes that were inserted inside. The fact that they sealed off the exit caused your arms to explode. Zaku couldn't say another word after that, when he finally fell unconscious. Hate then appeared to check Zaku's vitals and cleared his throat, and the winner is Shino Aburame. Cheers soon followed while others were still freaked out by either that the bugs used were creepy or that Shino could do all that and still don't display any emotion. The Aburames sure are good at what they do. After that fight was over, Naruto stood on the railings completely baffled by the action. If he was the one to fight against Shino, he was in for a real challenge. He could have lost too if he acted reckless like Zaku. His stupor was soon shattered when the board started to spin names again. He focused on it until the board finally halted on two words once more that said, Kankuro vs. Miss Yuri. While Naruto and anyone else from his class didn't recognize any of the names, they were in other parts of the stands. One of them was the trio of Sand Ninja. Alright. I got my match and boy will it be like a walk in the park. Kankuro talked no different than the one who lost in the previous round, which really bothered the rest of his team with his sensei included. Don't be so arrogant, Kankuro. That isn't how the Suna representatives should act. Temari scolded her younger brother on his behavior, while Gaara wasn't any different because his only brother's match wasn't good enough to be on his mind but for trying to keep his lust for blood in check. Relax, Temari. I will finish this in no time so we can get down to getting the invasion started. OW. Kankuro tried to assure his sister, but it got the opposite effect with a bash on his head by her and their teacher, Baki. Ninjas don't have boastful and loose mouths, Kankuro. I don't know where I have gone wrong with you, but if you lose, then it is your own fault. Baki made a point to his student, but it went up in smoke as the makeup boy just shrugged it off and went to the battle arena anyways. Once he arrived, he observed his opponent that also came. Miss Yuri wore the exact same getup as Yoroi, like those two are twins. Hate was also there too. Are both fighters ready? The two nodded, eager to get this match underway. Hajime. Once more, Hate left the area as soon as he spoke those words, and just in time for Miss Yuri rushed towards his opponent to land a right hit in which Kankuro blocked with the palm of his left hand. Yet, the masked man form Otogekyo wasn't done, and Kankuro was surprised to see that the former's limbs started to act like snakes and coiled around the latter's arm until Kankuro was immobilized by his opponent in a mess of limbs. In case you are wondering, Miss Yuri finally spoke since the battle started. This is my special ability. I can disconnect my joints, thus allowing me to become like rubber and tangle up my enemies until I snap their necks. You better forfeit before that happens. I lose my sleep for killing kids that come to these dangerous games thinking they got in the bag because they are new to it. Miss Yuri surprised everyone by both the description of his ability and that he was actually giving Kankuro a chance to live because he is a newbie. No way. I will still win this. Kankuro then threw away that chance by retorting at his opponent despite the situation he is in. Fine then, I gave you that last chance. Miss Yuri said without remorse when he did pull on Kankuro's neck until a snapping sound echoed in the stone walls of the tower. But it wasn't over when Kankuro's face started to peel off to reveal not muscle or bone but wood. Then the rest of the body shredded to reveal wood under too. Like a human-shaped puppet that then tangled Miss Yuri instead. I told you I will win this. That voice that got everyone's attention seemed to come from the bundle in white wraps that was almost forgotten during the previous events. It unraveled itself to reveal the real Kankuro in perfect health with blue string that connected his fingers to the puppet. It then hit everyone in the stands. Kankuro secretly hid himself in the bundle while controlling the puppet disguised as him from underneath the wrappings. And now you will get your neck snapped. Kankuro finished as the puppet did indeed broke Miss Yuri's neck as well as the rest of the body. And that was the first death in the preliminaries. Hate went down to check for a pulse or a breath. When there wasn't a single one, he went up and announced, "Winner by death, Kankuro." Instead of cheers like the previous two matches, silence filled the air around after how brutal and bloody this one ended. Kankuro just went back to his team and a break was given to clean the battle area of the bone bag mess. Naruto was deep in thought about how the job of being a ninja comes with killing, but unless you do it and not enjoy it, you will never be a ninja rather than a plain murderer. Killing is only enjoyed by cold-blooded killers. He then felt hands on his shoulders and smiled to see both of his girls comforting him, since it was easier than trying to do it to oneself. When they finally finished cleaning, the board started to select the next match names all the way to reveal these. Shikamaru Nara vs. Kin. Somehow, after seeing those names, Naruto finally had a smile on his face and chuckled for the first time since the preliminaries. Hinata had a good idea while Haku was confused to Naruto's change of mood so suddenly. Remember girls, Naras are known for their laziness and their tendency to complain about even the slightest amount of work. With that said, the girls joined their man in the fun, giggling at the thought that a Nara has to do work and they can't wait to see what will happen when Shikamaru tries to get out of it. He will just want to watch clouds. Sure enough, once Shikamaru had seen his name on the board, he tried to complain and whine his way out, but his teammate Ino with the temper got him to fight anyways. How troublesome, me to fight a girl because a troublesome girl told me to. Shikamaru was a true Nara with that style of talking, or, in a better name, complaining. Shut up so I can win this match. I am not as happy about this as you are. So zip up your lip. Shikamaru's opponent was also from Otogekure, and it seemed that the theme of arrogance and rudeness is popular there. Hate just sighed at it all and took his position, while the two genin took theirs. Are both fighters ready? They all said yes in their own way, so Hate raised his hand into a chopping motion, Hajime. On that mark, Kin reached into his pockets and threw a pair of Saban at Shikamaru. He was able to dodge them and noticed that Kin had 3 more Saban in hand. Troublesome, you can't win by threatening me with Saban if you are just going to miss? Shikamaru was complaining once more until he noticed that he was getting dizzy. He could stand properly. Kin still had a smirk on her face once she saw that her opponent was falling to his knees. In the stands, Naruto was also taking notice on what is happening to Shikamaru and turned to Haku. You know, he said to grab his teammate's attention, that Oto girl uses Saban like you do but seeming in a different way. Did you notice it? Haku nodded and then saw something that also caught her attention. That must be it, Naruto-kun. The said blonde turned to Haku and then to same direction as she is. There, he saw that one of the Saban that missed had a bell attached to it. So, Kin didn't miss. She landed that Saban on the wall on purpose to cause Shikamaru to focus more on her rather than the Saban with the bell on. If the Nara had done it otherwise, he could have been fine. The bell was lanced with chakra to disturb the air around the Nara, making him dizzy and unbalanced. Troublesome girls. Shikamaru didn't sound as lazy and whining like before. It was like he was angry about what Kin did. He somehow got a hold of himself enough to cancel the dizzy-making sound waves off the Saban and got up. Then, His shadow came to life and tried to touch Kin's shadow, but she kept dodging it for that to happen. Yet, her mistake was to try and dodge a clan jutsu of the Nara because they are still geniuses on the battlefield. Sure enough, she halted in her step with a look of confusion on her face. What? I can't move? Kin tried to fight it, but it was for no avail, as if her body was frozen stiff. Shikamaru had a smirk on his face, however. Art of the shadow possession success. Shikamaru said, much to everyone's confusion. How did he trap his opponent in his shadow technique when she was avoiding it the whole time? Then, everyone saw their answer. Shikamaru's shadow had indeed captured Kin's, and it seemed to have help. Help in the form of the wire connecting Kin to her dizzy-making Saban. But Kin has realized this trick too, but she still has a hard time to shadow the fact that she was outwitted. The W wire is too thin, its S shadow can't be used to capture me. Yes, you are right, and that is why I still managed to catch you, and now, Shikamaru said as he went into his pack for a pair of shuriken. Kin was forced to do the same. Despite her protests, Shikamaru had thrown his stars at her, in which she had to do the same in reverse. Then the Nara started to lean back, making Kin doubt about what her opponent is thinking until she blacked out after her controlled head hit the wall behind her. Checkmate. Shikamaru was otherwise in contrast to his unconscious opponent, and he cancelled his technique. Hate then appeared to check Kin's condition and announced Shikamaru as the winner. As troublesome as it is, battle never gets dull. That is why I prefer just to play shogi and watch clouds. Shikamaru was still a Nara and ruined the moment with the typical attitude of his clan. And then, the board started to sort names again until it stopped at 2. When everyone saw it, they knew it was going to be more than a simple match. It was to settle a score between 2 ninjas from the same village involved with the same girl. It said, Naruto Uzumaki vs. Kiba Inuzuka. The girls with Kakashi were just standing in the stands, hearts filled with worry about how Naruto is going to react to the fact that he is against Kiba. They got their answer seeing that Naruto had a giddy smile on his face that started to freak them out. They got themselves back together once they remembered that Naruto was the happiest boy in the world because he was waiting for a chance to battle Kiba, especially after he tried to steal Hinata away behind his back only because they were teammates. Elsewhere, Shino was feeling uneasy about the aura of extreme eagerness that was radiating off Kiba as of this very moment. The bug user knew very well the reason behind it all, because when Kiba tried to assault Hinata the very moment they arrived at the tower a few days ago, Shino tried to stop him. When Hinata managed to break free and run away from Kiba, who chased after her like a crazed and hungry animal, Shino was glad that he made it in time to see Kiba being put down and punished for throwing away any honor for his idiotic lust for Naruto's girlfriend. I can't wait to grind that dope into the ground for stealing my girl, and once I show her she was wasting her time with him, she will go out with me and make me my pups. Kiba wasn't aware that he was thinking out loud, which caused some people around him to grow either angry or fearful of the dog boy. Even his companion Akamaru wasn't looking at him in the same light anymore. Kiba, the match is going to be over if you don't hurry, Shino managed to say, and successfully got his teammate out of his crazed daydreaming. The dog boy grabbed Akamaru and in haste, tripped and fell down the stairs to where Naruto was waiting at. He and Hate were not pleased about the entrance Kiba made. That was not cool. By coincidence, Naruto and Hate both thought the same thing as Kiba collected himself together and took his place on the opposite end of the arena as Naruto. Are both fighters ready? Hate said, wanting to be more professional and to break the awkward silence. Damn it. Will you just start the match? I want that date with Hinata already. That was Kiba's reply, while Naruto just nodded, with a glaze of hate and disgust at his opponent who can't even control his own hormones. Fine. Hajime. Hate may have sounded neutral, but inside, he is rooting for the dog boy to lose because he was losing his patience with the Inuzuka's mouth. However, nothing happened. Both of them just stood there looking at each other. They were waiting until the other makes the first move, but even that didn't last long when Kiba got impatient. Dobe, you better give up now before you are killed. You can just count on me to take good care of Hinata-chan and that banshee bitch that you are dating behind her back. Kiba taunted with the facial expressions of hate, lust, and disgust that was really getting under everyone's skin. They know about the dog boy's mother, and for once, they were cheering for Naruto to win, so they will spare their ears of Kiba's voice and their eyes from the sight of scum like him. Kiba Naruto finally spoke, and the said boy was hoping that it was his opponent going to forfeit, but instead this came. Have you been dating Sasuke? Silence. Silence was in the air for only a few seconds until laughter came next, and boy did it fill up the stadium in a flash. Everyone present was laughing their heads off, for less judging by how hard they were at it. Even the children, who couldn't understand it as good as the adults, were giggling along. Kiba was the only one not laughing as the one of the sudden amusement, and instead was boiling up with the humiliation that even his companion, Akamaru, was on the ground laughing at the dog boy's embarrassment. Naruto was chuckling at his own joke, which brought further insult to injury. Kiba was so angry and humiliated that he could barely speak. Ha ha ha, you don't get me? Naruto spoke after nearly lost his head in the laughter. Think about it, you look down on others. You think that your word is like that of the gods. And you think girls are nothing more than property to show off like trophies, and worse off all, baby factories. You and Sasuke have a lot in common. You must be dating him in order to take after the team to that extent. After how Naruto explained himself, The laughter died and silence returned as those words rang over and over again in everyone's ears. This is probably because it is so true that it hurts to even smile at it. The Inuzuka clan head and her daughter were no better. That does it. When I am done with you, there won't even be a speck left for the birds and rats. Kiba finally snapped, and even his lifelong companion started to back away from the boy, and Naruto sensed it. The blonde then waved his hand, which told Akamaru to do what he wants, and that meant for the dog himself to stay out of the way for both fighters. Naruto turned his attention to the mess of a clan heir in front of him. You really can't control your temper, and you let a dope like me get under your skin. That isn't what a future clan head should do. And for the umpteenth time, Hinata-chan chose to date me, and there is never anything wrong with that. There is something wrong with that. Kiba shouted in retort, making Naruto raise an eyebrow queerly and waited for what Kiba has to say next. She should have chosen me. I am better than you. I am not a dead last. I am a clan heir and I am the best of everyone there is. They couldn't take me out of the exams because I am the most valuable one out of the class of trash. Now everyone were trying to save their ears from such verbal torture, but that last sentence instead stayed in their heads, echoing like in a dark cave. The civilians couldn't help but agree with Naruto on such a poor example Kiba is setting, especially after that, but the shinobi took it the hardest because one of their own just insulted his own comrades. It was a challenge not to go down there and make a tower of bumps on the head and make a new face of bruises. However, they were distracted. Wow. It is freezing. BRR, are you joking? It has got to be over 100 degrees with this sun. Are you sure you're okay? I am feeling just fine. These were only mere examples of what ran through the crowds as random people either felt scorching hot, freezing cold, or indifferent. This included the shinobi who may have found the source, as area around Naruto was strangely both hot and cold, while Kiba was sweating on his legs through his pants while he was shivering around his torso that even his coat couldn't warm him up. The only thing that made all this like a walk in the park was what came out of the blonde's mouth. So that is it. Naruto spoke in a tone that was rough and cold to the ears of men including Kiba, but the women only heard a smooth and hot taste to their ears. You see everyone around him as trash. Including the Hokage. The noble clans. Even your own mother. Kiba didn't say a word, he just focused on finding out what is wrong with him. You are also saying that Hinata-chan made her biggest mistake being with the one she loves and around real friends rather than with a boy who is just waiting for a chance to rape her. You are insulting the woman you desire enough to throw away your pride and your honor to make room for your own stupid lust. While everyone was breathless and in awe at Naruto's speech about Kiba's disgrace today, the dog boy was feeling something heavy that was quickly taking his will to fight away. Then he noticed that his legs wouldn't budge from their spot, and Kiba only had the chance to see ice covering them when Naruto closed the distance between him and the dog boy with something boiling in his hand. Kiba's head was forced back up when Naruto shoved his hand into the face, but that was just to land the first strike in the whole match. There was something else.